Kidogo tuharakisha kidogo tafadhali Sheikh, harakisha tafadhali Sheikhna, بسرعة بسرعة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وثناء لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثير. اللهم ربنا يا ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم، وفي الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إننا نسألك إيمانا كاملا وقلبا خاشعا وعمرا طويلا ولسانا صادقا وعملا متقبلا، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد.
Amin. Bismillah. Thank you. Inshallah, mgeni wetu naomba kwa heshima na taadhima zote wageni niweze kukaribisha CS Education Mheshimiwa Bisharo aweze kuendelea moja miwili na ratiba inshallah.
CS Education, Governor Mandera County, Deputy Governor, all distinguished leaders, wananchi, assalamu alaikum. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our CS Honorable Ezekiel Machogu and other leaders to Mandera for this important occasion. Today here we are launching Mandera Education TaskForce report that will guide us in the roadmap in addressing the gaps in education sector in Mandera County. At this juncture, I would like to sincerely thank the TaskForce members for the good work they have done over this short period of time. I would also like to thank our partner NACONET, WFP, UNICEF for being partners with us in this exercise. With these few remarks, I would like to call upon the chair of Mandera Education TaskForce, the chair, to come and tell us what is in the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me first request the TaskForce members to come forward, please, for introduction. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The chief guest, Honorable Machogu, my governor, His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, the former Governor and the Senator Roba, our Speaker, and all members of Parliament, MCS, and everybody else. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May I also request members of the Secretariat who are here, please to join us quickly because of time. I will start from the far end and please quickly introduce yourself.
I'm Zahra Bashir, a member. Sorry.
Bismillah. Hussein Hassan.
Sorry, I'm Zahra Bashir, thank you.
Hope Moturi, Vice Chairperson.
Muhammad Nur Hassan, Principal, Northeastern National Polytechnic, and a member of this task force. Thank you.
Peter Ngugi from Kenya School of TVET, a member of this task force.
Mahat Omar, a member of the task force. Mohammed Abdenour, I am also a member of the task force.
Sarah Mudama, a member.
Ali Malim, member of task force.
Okay, let me also give this chance. Just say your names quickly. These are the members of the Secretariat.
I'm Yusuf Mohammed Bulle, member of the Secretariat.
Faisal Ahmed Mohammed, member of the Secretariat.
Abdia Hanshi, Secretariat.
Mwalimu Abdi, Mwanajopos, Katibu.
Thank you very much. Now I request the Secretariat to be back. And my colleagues around, Your Excellency, foremost, I would like to thank you for giving us this task. It has not been an easy, it's not a walk in the park, definitely. But because of the effort of this combined team, with all the various expertise, we were able to deliver that report with the support of your government, with the support of NACONEC and others who made this work possible. Thank you very much. May I now request, except the team who will be giving the presentation, the rest take a seat. It's okay. Let me request each of my members to give us 2 minutes. We have 4 thematic groups. I'll make the concluding remarks. We have a thematic group in charge of ECD. There's a thematic group in charge of TVET. There's a section in charge of integration, Duke's integration, and there's also bursary. So I'll give each of the thematic chair 2 minutes so that we are able to move on time. Let me start with my deputy to give a quick overview in terms of methodology. Thank you.
Okay, so with my colleagues in the task force, our task has been to review and propose reforms in the Mandera County Early Childhood Development and Education and vocational training. It has taken multiple months to do the qualitative and quantitative research in the sub-counties in Mandera County: Mandera North, Mandera South, Mandera East, Mandera West, Banisa, Lafi. Yes, so the survey included stakeholders, interviews, focus group discussions, desktop review, and collection of primary data through online questionnaires. We acknowledge and thank the multiple stakeholders that took part in this survey, including the Mandera County Assembly Education Committee, religious leaders and scholars, community leaders, community elders, schools, principals, teachers, women leaders, youth leaders, and others. And again, many thanks to the Secretariat. So the great value of this Mandera Education Task Force report will be its implementation. So I hand over to my colleagues, the thematic group leaders, to do their presentations. Asanteni.
Let me call about the chair. We had a thematic chair, and we may recognize the good work that was done by our ECD chair. 2 minutes.
Thank you. So, our chief guest, I take this opportunity to present to you the early childhood report. Early childhood starts from 0 to 8 years, and this is the critical period the child is supposed to grow. So in the process, we did our findings and recommendations, and we came across the following. We did our findings in the 6 sub-counties, as has been mentioned by my colleague, and we selected out of the 312 schools centers, we selected 139 for sampling. Banisa, we selected 22 centers, Lafay 14 centers, Mandera East 30 centers, Mandera North 23 centers, Mandera South 29 centers, and Mandera West 21 centers. Out of this, we came across 44.6% of the public centers that had been sampled. We had a total of 17,730 ECD learners, and most of them were not attending the center simply because of the long distances that they were trekking. A total enrollment of the county was 27,730. Unfortunately, we did not get the correct data because of too much transfers and movements of the pastoral community, and these children were very young. Distribution of the learners by gender for PP1 and PP2 was 56% for the boys and 44% for the girls. Infrastructure, the county government has constructed around 258 ECD centers, which was equivalent or translating to 51% of the total that we required. And in the process, when we were doing the baseline, 78% of the centers confirmed that they have received ECD materials, but these were consumable materials, and they required more. 96% confirmed that there were no play materials at all. Washrooms, wash materials, toilets, sanitation, and water was not available at all. For some centers, they said they had 57% of clean drinking water, but they did not have even the storage facilities. Next. Distribution by gender. If we look at the enrollment of teachers, a total of 403 teachers were enrolled by the county government, employed by the county government, of which 73% turned to be male teachers and 27% the female. This was a threshold of the two-third of the gender rule. But I still recommend my sisters to go and do teaching. Teacher qualification, most of the teachers were trained. 64% trained as ECD certificates, 32 had diplomas, and 4% had bachelor degrees in special needs education. And this is an area that is very critical. Most of the people commented about poor learning or low learning abilities, and we say teachers should be trained on this. Management of the ECD centers was coming because they are domiciled in the primary schools. It was coming under the head teachers of the school, where we had some conflict between the ECD teachers and the primary school head teachers. Then we also came across The regulations, teachers were not aware of the regulations and there was lack of code of conduct, then ethics and regulations was not in place for the ECD teachers. Funding shortage. This was a very critical area. There was no activity that could take place without funding and they required a lot of funding. Then out of the survey and the respondents that we had, 54% noted that there was competition, stiff competition between early childhood development and Duksi. That is the Quranic way of teaching children. Then we had the integration. Most of them, around 82%, said and accepted that they need the integration of both Duksi and the ECD centers. Recommendations. To ensure holistic quality education in ECD learners, the county government should identify, assess, enroll, and support learners with special needs in all the integrated ECD centers that are disability-friendly with ramps and other structures that require, including posting teachers. Provide child-friendly and age-appropriate materials, play equipment, and wash facilities. Work with other partners to implement an effective implementation strategy on critical issues. The scheme of service was a very big issue. Merit promotions, health, insurance cover, and a clear code of conduct, ethics, and regulation for teachers was very key. Next. Strengthen the capacity of the Basic Education Directorate to deliver services, monitor, supervise, and provide support for mentoring teachers. Regularly engage stakeholders on the Boresha Chekechea initiative. This is a new model where we are going to have all the children enjoying the free education and build the capacity of the BOMs, communities, development partners, and key stakeholders in supporting the initiative. Adopt the ECD policy to its pre-primary policy to include integration of ECD and Duksi in the Muslim counties. Facilitate effective implementation of CBC curriculum in ECD centers, increase financial allocation to the sector. Thank you.
Let me now request the integration team, the team to give us also 2 minutes, please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I don't think I will do any justice to this presentation with 2 minutes. So I will shift a little bit from the presentation. Maybe you should just not project it. For the sake of our CS, Duksi is a local Quranic school predominantly found in pastoral areas. This committee, one of the mandates was to look at how we can integrate the Duksi with the formal school system. We visited 212 Duksis. Out of that were 30 tahfids. Tahfids are specialized institutions, Manasias, for your own knowledge, for memorizing the Quran. Ideally, why we are going is to find where these children are. Our finding was that the majority of our learners, young children, are in Duksis. The population that we are saying are not in school are in Duksis. And therefore, what His Excellency wanted was to find a middle ground to see how best we can do justice so that every child in this county benefits from education, which is a constitutional requirement. What the assessment found is that the Duksis are in dilapidated situations, they're in pathetic conditions, they have no sanitation, they have no sheds, they're in makeshift buildings, they are hosted by neighbors, they are in mosques. Ironically, they have attracted children. And one reason is because they make use of available resources. So in the far-flung areas where we can't reach with ECD or a school, Duksis are there. So the lesson for us there is that when we may simplify education and reach out to every child, parents will enroll. Number two, CS is because Duksi is only the available learning opportunity for pastoral children in far-flung areas where there are no schools. That is a food for thought for us. Number two, we wanted to see what best we can do so that these children can benefit from school. I want to remind everyone, and particularly educationists, that integration is not a new concept. In 1982, those of you who are old enough, the McKay report recommended that we needed integration for creation of employment for technical and vocation. So the concept of integration is very old enough. In 2005, Bana CS, if you remember, the National Education Sector Support Project recommended integration of madrasas and duksis in Muslim regions into their schools. In 2013, what the education sector reform did was to align education with the Constitution of 2010. And therefore, in the Constitution that we have, the Basic Education Act of 2013 recommends integration. And finally, the last one that we have is the National Education and Integration Sector Support and the alignment of the education of the task force in 2018 and 2022 recommended integration. My question and concern, in 1982 we spoke about this. In 2005 we spoke about it. We aligned it to the Constitution. In 2018-2012 strategic alignment of the education sector system, we aligned. The Basic Education Act talks about it. Why is it not possible for our government and our partners and everyone else to accept what is in the Constitution? It's not a new concept. Those of you who are worried about integration, the government of this country has been so good to our children to an extent that in 1982 and all the papers that I read, and these are in the public domain, integration is not anything new. Please go back and you will find that every report, including aligning the education system with the Constitution, recommended integration. We recommend a model, and I will not go into the recommendations. There are about 9 of them. It is important for the Mandera County government, a government that has substantially now invested in education, that we are all so proud of, honestly. There is not a single government that has paid school fees entirely for its entire population. The government has a focus, and you have done what you have done today is sufficient. Mandera should be a model, because you have the legal backup. My challenge, and I see a number of MCS, my challenge, please, the onus is on you. Help the county government of Mandera to come up with a legal framework that is in line with all the policies and the good work that NACONEC and the ministry is doing, so that we can have all those children in the school, in Duksi. What the ulama told us is that there are 3 models. Duksi, children learn in the morning, go to school at around 7. Tahfid, 2 models. 1 model, no go zone. It's Quran memorization, 3 years until they finish, nothing else. Number 3, which a number of ulamas who are in this hall have done and has worked, is the hybrid system. They learn Quran, Tahfid, and they introduce the 3 R's. Numeracy, literacy, and arithmetic at a very early age as they prepare. And once they finish the Quran, there's easy transition to the schools. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have to add into this. I thank you for the audience.
Let me now call upon the expert in TVET.
Okay, CS Education and all members around. In TVET, we had 2 mandates. Mandate number 1, to do labor market survey. Then mandate number 2, to conduct baseline survey when it comes to vocational training colleges. We did labor market survey, and we were able to establish the areas that our vocational training colleges need to align themselves with. We realized from the survey we did, most of these vocational training colleges are offering traditional courses, not what is in line with the labor market. Then something else that came out from this labor market survey is that we don't prepare our graduate for the labor market by improvising some of the courses like essential skills to enhance the employability. Then when it comes to baseline survey that we did, it's so unfortunate, our CS, that the enrollment in Mandera is only 637 trainees. in 7 vocational training centers. That was so discouraging. I think we need, Our Excellency, you need to mobilize your team and see on how you can enhance the enrollment procedure. And some of the recommendations we gave when it comes to enrollment, see the incentives you can give these trainees. Most of them are dropping out because of the examination fee, which we think you and your office can address this. We also looked at the infrastructure, the level of infrastructure. And one thing we noted, most of these vocational training colleges don't have secured land. They don't have title deeds. Most of these vocational training colleges, they have very small parcels of land. And as you know, we are really enforcing on psychomotor skills development. So we are recommending that each of these vocational training colleges should have a minimum of 3 acres so that the trainees are able to be accommodated. The other thing that came out clearly is about the equipment, training materials. We realized when procurement is being done, there is no planning of these materials. You'll find one training institution with a lot of training materials, but lying idle. That one came out so strongly. Then a question I'd like you to think about. The other thing that came out strongly, most of these vocational training colleges, they don't have power. They have been disconnected. Now the question we are asking ourselves as a task force, we have the vocational managers, and they are in our payrolls. That's a question to think about. Why will an institution be disconnected because of a bill of up to 15,000? And yet we're encouraging the practical courses. The other thing that came out strongly is about the workshop. It's so discouraging that most of these institutions, you find one workshop is used by 3 different classes. One for plumbing, one for welding, one for electrical in the same workshop. So this is something that we need to address. Then during our survey, it also came out strongly that most of our instructors don't have pedagogical skills. It's only one that indicated has pedagogical skills. So what is this communicating to you? That we are engaging instructors that are not well equipped to stand before the trainee and take them through the content. The other thing that came out strongly is about engaging instructors with different skill area. When you go to electrical, you find an instructor with the area in plumbing, training electrical student. That one came out so strongly. The other thing, as I wind up, is about the management of this vocational training college. We noted most of this board of management have overstayed until now they have become like part and parcel of those particular institutions. So we highly recommend that you review this board of management in these vocational training colleges in order to empower them. The other thing that came out strongly is about the vocational managers. Most of them are in acting capacity. They don't have substantive position. And this incapacitates them to work effectively. Then, something that touched my heart. You cannot convince me, a vocational manager moving away from Banisa, coming to Mandera here at the headquarters, to bring an invoice or to request for petty cash. So our recommendation is, have substantive vocational manager, let them be accompanied by the budget, and let them be responsible. Then number 2, in order to reinforce their working ability, we highly recommend that these vocational centers should have someone in charge of procurement or finance. That one never came out clearly. That means there is no proper record keeping in this particular training institution. That one we highly recommend on that issue. So those are the major issues that we identified. And on issues of equipment, because we realized these issues with the equipment, when we were doing survey, we went to Mandera Technical Training Institute. And we found they have some machines that they are stored somewhere. They are not being used. So we can encourage, can we have a collaborative, an MOU between vocational training colleges and those Mandera Technical Training Institute or any other TTI, so that we are able to reinforce our capacity. Then lastly, as I wind up, the issue of digitalization. 100% of this institution, they talked about having no digital platform. As our CS is here, the national government is talking about the highway of internet connectivity. So it is up to you, Your Excellency, think on how this institution can be connected to digital, and you can tap on what the national government is doing. We have National Odell. Then you can bring these VTCs, and because the CS is here, I think he will support you so that you can be able to tap on this national Odell. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. If you allow me, I'll make a few comments, first on bursary, and thereafter, I'll make a concluding remark. Generally, Mandera education is on the right trajectory. We are happy with the work that has been done. Huge investment has been made. If you look at the expansion, in terms of expansion, we were talking of 172 to 312 institutions, ECD alone. We used to have only 2 centers of VCT, that is vocational training centers, and now there are 7. The expansion has been done. But the question that remains, are those institutions properly utilized? That's the question, I think. We are talking of 30% capacity for vocational training centers. 70% of those institutions are not properly utilized. 70% in terms of manpower production. We are talking of early childhood. With 200,000 children, early childhood age, out of that only 27,000 are enrolled in schools. 10%. Really just around 10-15%. Where are the rest of the children? And my able brother here has explained that majority of them are in other institutions. So what must we do? That is the question. We have given out our recommendations, and I'm sure some of the set of recommendations we give, if they're implemented, those issues will be addressed. Allow me to make a few remarks on the bursary. Foremost, I want to congratulate the governor for making transition in Mandera from 30% to secondary education to 100%. Can we give him a clap, please? Because last year, you guys have seen there was a huge increase in number of students enrolled in secondary schools. The head teachers, if they're here, they will testify to that. It is 100%. According to some sources, even 110%. Because children from other regions are now scrambling for positions in secondary schools in Mandera County. That is a huge leap. But there are a few things that needs to be done, even though the county has put a platform, online platform. There is a lot of multiple of agencies that are doing bursary education, but that are not coordinated. They need to be coordinated. I can assure you, if we harness that resource, Mandera County, no child will miss education. If that resource is properly harnessed. CDF, there's the government of Kenya, CDF, there's a county government, there's the private sector, the corporate sector, there's even the religious institution, diaspora included. If these resources well coordinated, and we recommend as a task force that the county government through the county assembly passes a law which allows them to coordinate all institutions so that every child who's benefiting from that process can be monitored to avoid what is called double dipping or a double allocation. We have had cases of children getting from many sources bursary. That must come to an end. And I think on the bursary, the other point we want also to emphasize is the aspect of what I think will be the beginning, a bursary kit. You know, we are Muslim community. Higher Education Loan Board, Bana CS, the Higher Education Loan Board charges 4% interest. That itself is a big barrier for the Muslim community. What is wrong if we devolve a system whereby there's a revolving fund where Muslim students can get opportunity from their county government so that they can get educated and they still return back the money to that fund, and instead of going through, which is interest-free, and instead of going through a process where we are forced to take that kind of stuff. In my concluding remark, I want to make 3 statements. Number 1, that if you want, you cannot eat like a squirrel and you expect it to produce a huge amount of, excreta like that of an elephant. What I mean, yani, chakula ni kidogo, but unataka mtoto atoe kama fikubwa sana, aonekane amekula vizuri hapana. The investment, what input is output. The TVET sector is getting 2% of education budget. 2%. We have evidence for that. The whole of 98% of the budget goes to other. And you can know that with the level of unemployment in Mandera is almost 60%. So for the youth, how do you expect, if we don't modernize our TVET centers, how do you expect the children to go to an institution where there are no facilities? The power is disconnected. There are no enough resources. Traditional institution. If we have to modernize, we must inject funds. We must input. We must put resources in TVET sector. If we must bring change in this county. And if we must stop the youth being radicalized. Our youth are being wasted because they don't get an opportunity. When they miss secondary education and there's no alternative for provision, you know where they go to. Number two, which I think is very important, integration. A lot has been mentioned. I want to thank the director of NACONEC for the effort he's making, because we are going the right direction. As a country, it is important to understand the Muslim community is a Muslim community is called Ummatul Wasata, meaning a middle path community. We must balance between the life here and the hereafter. We must balance. A Muslim cannot only emphasize his all energy on this life here and forget the hereafter. So that is why the spiritual component in ECD is very important. Introducing Quran, introducing Islamic values at ECD, very important. Very important. And that is why when you see more parents are taking their children to Islamic schools because they want that foundation must. But if we bring the two together, we have solved the problem. Here we have taken care of the worldly issue. Here we have taken care of also the spiritual issue. That balance is what we want in our system. We want a curriculum. NACONEC is already on top of that. We want a curriculum that will address that balance so that our children get, I can assure you, if that is implemented, 100% of all Duxi centers in this county will become ECD centers. And that will bring a change in this county. Finally, I know because of time, I'm not able to make, but I always want to talk about policy. And here I'm talking to the county staff. Policy, if you don't make conceptualization and internalization of policy, what are you implementing? And where are you coming from? That is the challenge. We are building ECD centers like the way we were doing in 844. Go to Kwale. ECD is a package. ECD is a center. It has classrooms, it has a head office, it has a toilet for children. And when we say toilet, there's no single toilet in Mandera County that is actually compliant, which is child friendly. Mtoto infant anakuja, anaona choo mdomo kubwa sana. Anatoka anaketi nyuma yake, anajisaidia anaenda. A 4-year-old child cannot enter a toilet if it has got whatever. It is a standard toilet for children. And it is there in the ECD policy. I'm carrying a copy of the country ones. We must conceptualize and internalize the policy and implement things according to the policy. That way, we shall reach up the other parts of Kenya. Equally, I want to raise this for the CS because quality assurance is a problem. The county has been gagged. The county has no authority to inspect the schools. The county cannot, the only thing they can do is provide resources. How do you ensure quality and you are giving out material, you're paying for the teacher, and yet you cannot control that teacher? Because quality assurance component is still under the national government. I think this issue needs to be reconsidered. How do we ensure that the county has that, it doesn't become a toothless dog? It can bite if a teacher does not do the work as required by law. And finally, community participation. Community ownership. If you don't, there's no progress that can take place if we don't push the community. We have recommended 2 issues here. Boresha Chekechea initiative. Community driven. Mambo integration, community must play their role. Community must be given the power to push that agenda so that they bring all the children to ECD centers. For the TVET, we have recommended Hirfat Mal advocacy initiative. TVET. Hirfat Mal, what does Hirfat Mal mean in Somali? Kula nguvu yako. Tumia skills kupata mali. We want the youth to drive that process, do advocacy. You'll be shocked. The Somalis don't want any job which is manual. Hawataki kazi ya mkono. Ndio sababu Wakenya wengine wametoka kila mahali kuja hapa Mandera kufanya kazi. Tunataka kwa hivyo, kwa hayo machache, ningelipenda kutoa shukrani kwa niaba ya wenzangu, kwa governor na team yote. Kazi ya education inaenda vizuri. Tumefurahia. Generally the work is going very well. There are a few things which gaps we have identified, and I'm sure they can act on that. Without few, it is my privilege and honor officially now to hand over my report to the county governor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay, thank you. Watu wa Mandera Education Task Force Committee, they have done a good job. Let us clap for them. Tunasema asante to all members. Now I will call upon the chairman of Education Committee for Mandera County Assembly, Honorable Rashid from Kotulo Ward. Karibu.
Assalamu alaikum. Good. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. His Excellency Governor Muhammad Al-Khalif, our guest of honor, our Deputy Governor, our Senator, our Speaker, members of County, members of National Assembly and members of the County Assembly. I would like to say maybe few remarks about what is said here. I would like to thank the Governor first of all for finding time and resource to engage this task force. And they have given us this report. I would like to mention maybe 2 items: the integration of Duxi and schools. Our problem here, our challenge, our main challenge in our county or in northern Kenya, in this region, is the age group, which is supposed to be in school in ECD, is in madrasa, in Duxi. While in Kenya, group 4 and 5, ours is start from 7 and 8. So that one, inshallah ta'ala, will bridge that gap. And also, I also want to thank our guest of honor, because most of the time we have such an initiative, such a report, it is always us who launch it and have it here. It is now becoming a practice to have county, national cabinet secretaries to come here. We also thank the governor for that relationship. Our role as assembly is to just make sure whatever policies, whatever legislation is needed, we'll support it, and we'll be there to implement, to legislate, and also assist in implementation part of it. For our guests of honor, there are 2 things maybe which is new in our country. Around this time, normally we have unrest in the schools previously. You have brought calm to our schools. That pressure of exams, of national exams, is not gone. And also we have done very good with teachers. They have been, we know around this time they also threatened to strike and do much. But for us, this time around, for this year, we have calm in education sector, and we thank you for that. So thank you, and may God bless you.
May I now call upon the Majority Leader of Mandera County Assembly, Honorable Mohammed Rashid from Gidere Ward.
Thank you very much. Mheshimiwa Waziri, Your Excellency the Governor, our senators, our members of County Assembly and the Senate, my colleagues, our Speaker, Assalamu alaikum. Bwana Waziri, kwanza karibu sana Mandera County, and we are very pleased that as my colleague has just mentioned, at least we are finding a very good relationship between ourselves and the national government, that I think this is, you are, I think, the 4th cabinet secretary, if I'm not, the 5th cabinet secretary that is now visiting us. And this one is a very good sign that we are having a very good working relationship between ourselves and our party, particularly UDM, led by our party leader who is present today, and the Kenya Kwanza government. I would like to send that word of appreciation to His Excellency the President, because we also had His Excellency the Deputy President visiting us. We had Waziri Kindiki, We had Waziri Health Nakumicha. We also had yourself. And we believe His Excellency the President is also going to follow suit and come and grace this county that really supports him. The other people, Bwana Waziri, we would like you to go and take our message to is tunataka Waziri Murkomen also to visit us. Waziri Murkomen, Waziri wa Barabara, Waziri wa Agriculture. You find that unless these people come to the ground, they will not appreciate the challenges that these people of this country, this region face. Because we hear, particularly agriculture, we have a semi-permanent river that is flowing in this county, and our other citizens in the rest of the country, Waziri, they enjoy a lot of subsidies. We hear Mira subsidy, we hear fertilizer subsidy, we hear dairy subsidy. We also require those cabinet secretaries to come to the ground, at least visit us, appreciate the challenges we face, and also assess what this county can contribute to the economy of the nation. We have a lot to contribute, Bwana Waziri. The only thing that we require is an enabling environment that can only be given when those people come and visit us, sit with the grassroots leadership, with our leader, with the local leadership. The other thing, Bwana Waziri, is that extraordinary times forces you to look for extraordinary solutions. You find that some of these activities, when we are campaigning our party, our signature pledge was education. And we find that when the governor came in, he has made truth the pledge that you have taken with the people of Mandera County. And that pledge was, first of all, to ensure people have access to education. Our mandate is basic education, but we find that because of the challenges we find ourselves, many of our resources is also committed to other functions that belong to the national government that we require at least you people also to support, because we also, it has not been delegated function. Please try to see, because of the extraordinary situation we find ourselves, on how best at least these non-delegated functions can also be supported by the national government. Tunasikia pia kwamba enrollment ya hawa walimu ambao wao wameenda ku launch leo, siasa imekuwa mingi sana. Mara they do not qualify, mara it's like this. Bana Waziri, sisi circumstances yetu, from security to education to agriculture and everything, we find ourselves in a very difficult environment. So if a government institution goes to contradict the policy and agenda that the government want to achieve, because hii shida ya kusema hii sio mandate yangu na hiyo sio mandate yako, you find that the rights enshrined in the constitution by the people of this county is not going to be achieved unless we have positive discrimination to ensure that at least those admissions are not going to be politicized. Those admissions are going to go through with your support and also the support of His Excellency the President and also our national leadership. The other thing is the issue of, you've had at least where the biggest gap is. Basic education has been made compulsory. You can only achieve that compulsory basic education if you are going to respect the TaskForce recommendations. Zamani, wakati ile serikali ya zamani, tulikuwa tunasikia TaskForce, baada ya TaskForce, hiyo TaskForce ikikuja inawekwa tu kwa drawer, inaenda kuokota vumbi huko hivyo. But I believe these task forces that has been requested by His Excellency the Governor this time, we want to reboot some situations so that we can find ourselves where we are going to start and ensure that the next 5 years we deliver the promises and the mandates we have taken ourselves by virtue of our election. And with this very few remarks, I say karibu sana, na alika hao makabine secretary wengine waambie Mandera wanaweza kutembea usiku na mchana. Asante.
Thank you, our majority leader. I now call upon Bilo Usak, our county secretary, to take us through the remaining program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll just follow the laid down protocol. Honorable Mohammed Machogu. You said your name is Mohammed this morning, so I'll call you Mohammed. Your Excellency, the Governor, and all other leaders, I just want to mention one thing, not about the education or the task force, but I want to mention about transition. What will kill devolution or uplift devolution is a transition. If we have a positive transition, the teacher training colleges this morning you officially opened was started by the pioneer governor, His Excellency Captain Ali Roba. If the same was not picked by his successor, His Excellency Mohammed Al Khalif, then it will be a white elephant project. Same for all other projects that are there in the county and even across the country in devolution. So it's important that the MPs are here as we legislate laws that will support a very smooth transition. We are having other counties that are transiting from one leadership to another, failing, sending home the entire staff and stalling other projects that were started by their predecessors. So with that one, I just want to challenge the MPs to ensure that we legislate laws that will support that. With that few remarks, I want to invite the Deputy County Commissioner who is standing in for the County Commissioner to give his remarks.
Thank you, my brother, the County Secretary, for giving me this opportunity to address our people in Mandera town. Our chief guest today, Honorable the Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, His Excellency the Governor, na itifaki zote zikihifadhiwa na zikiheshimiwa. Nachukua nafasi hii kwanza kutoa radhi za County Commissioner wetu Mr. Amos Mariba ambaye hayuko hapa na ndio maana niko hapa ninamwakilisha. Wameitwa wote Nairobi, Kenya mzima, na watakuwa na masomo huko Kenya School of Government for the next 3 days. Kwa hivyo hatakuwa nasi. Naomba uchukue radhi zake na tumsamehe kwa sababu hayuko na sisi. Pili, ningependa kwa niaba ya wafanyikazi wote wa serikali ambao wako hapa wa national government, sijui kama wako hapa wapunge mkono mahali wako. Niliona CCIO Abdishek, simameni tu kidogo alafu mkae. Wako hapa wote. Hawa ni baadhi ya wale wako hapa, wengine hawako, lakini kwa niaba yao nachukua nafasi hii kukaribisha Mheshimiwa Ezekiel Machogu hapa Mandera. Najua ukisikia Mandera ukiwa sehemu zingine unakuwa na wasiwasi sana kwa mambo ya usalama, lakini tumejaribu kila ambalo tumeweza kuhakikisha kwamba usalama wa wananchi wetu pamoja pia na walimu wetu ambao wanafanya kazi ngumu sana katika mazingira haya magumu wanaendelea kupeana kazi yao kwa njia ambayo inafurahisha watu wengi. Najua kuna changamoto nyingi kwa walimu wetu ambazo labda ningesema, lakini kwa sababu ya muda utaelezwa na wengine. Ni kwamba wanapitia changamoto nyingi za kiusalama hasa wakati wanaposafiri shule zikifungwa. Na nafikiri hilo ni jambo kama security committee tunashughulika sana, huwa tunajaribu sana kuwasaidia ili wafike manyumbani kwao na hata shule zinapofunguliwa warudi wakiwa salama salimini. Na ninasema pia kwa mambo ya mitihani tuko tayari, Mheshimiwa Cabinet Secretary. Tumefanya briefing katika kila level kuanzia county na hata sub county, na tuko tayari. Ile tunangojea ni mitihani ifike tuweze kuisimamia vema, na tumehimiza walimu wetu na wale wote washikadau ambao wanasimamia mambo ya mitihani kwamba tuhakikishe hakutakuwa na udanganyifu. Na kwa niaba yao ningependa kuhakikishia kwamba tumekubaliana sote kwamba tutahakikisha hakutakuwa na udanganyifu wowote katika Mandera yetu sub-county. Kwa hivyo sitaki nichukue muda mwingi, yangu ni kukukaribisha na kusema jisikie huko nyumbani na ukaribie sana sana. Asanteni na Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki.
Thank you very much, DCC. The next speaker will be our brother Harun, the CEO of Onakonek. Kindly come and make your remarks.
Thank you very much. Mzee Tumpendwa, Mheshimiwa Ezekiel Machogu, Cabinet Secretary for Education, His Excellency the Governor, Super Senator who laid the foundation for Mandera County, members of Parliament who are present, and all the protocols observed. Good afternoon once again. And mine is probably to, before I maybe proceed, I would like to recognize Mheshimiwa Haro and for doing a lot of efforts. This is the man who has supported me in the Education Committee to push for the budgets. I remember, if you want to see him fighting, just go to the Education Committee halls. When the last time we were being left out in the supplementary budget, we had to move day and night to make sure we were actually allocated. So whatever effort you see the ministry has done is through the Education Committee, and the effort of Mr. Haro is very important. And Waziri, if you heard the committee report very well, there's a gentleman that made a question on us, Mr. Mohammed Abdunur. Mohammed actually was a former teacher when I was a high school principal of Wajir High School. He was also in Sabule. I remember I nominated him to go and attend a training in Japan. That capacity is actually evident in him. So the question he told us, he asked, which I'm sure the Waziri was trying to ponder, is integration of Duks and Madrasa has been accepted in the Constitution. It is there in the Basic Education Act. Section 95(2)(e) of the Basic Education Act provides for. What is the problem? This is where the question is. And the challenge here has always been our ability to operationalize the provisions of the Constitution and the Act. And the Waziri, the Presidential Working Party, has given a directive that this be operationalized, and that when you were in KICD, I'm sure you give us each sector to make sure they operationalize what was provided. To this extent, NACONEC has constituted a technical team comprising of the Ministry of Education, the Kenya Qualification Authority, KICD, NEC, and 8 subject matter experts who are sheikhs, who have the ability to create and establish the Duksi curriculum. So what has actually been the challenge has always been for us to move the children from Duksi to school. We only need to deal with one problem. That is to integrate the Duksi teacher to the school system. And we are now dealing with this. Already the curriculum is at the advanced stage. And the role of Kenya Qualification Authority, which has actually, which recognizes through the prior learning, which have actually launched. I know you attended their workshop. And in November, you're also launching. You will hear so much of the Duksi issue in the RPL policy, which is actually coming up. So we are doing a very good job, and we're making sure that within 6 months, we'll have the Duksi curriculum. And the role of KICD, through your instructions, will help us to anchor Duksi curriculum into the basic education framework, such that we'll be able to timetable Duksi within the school systems. So that's already happening, and we're addressing. I remember when we were trying to consult the communities, Mzee Ali Roba was the governor of Mandera, and in a forum in Garissa, he really supported the move to integrate Duksi and Madrasa. And one of the reasons why the children are out of school is because Duksi systems are not regulated. There is no regulation. They do not have a regulator. They do not have timelines. They do not have, basically they have no structure. So they keep the children in school. And Waziri, I want to give you one important information. Why the Muslims want to take their children to Duksi is because they believe that when they die, there are three things that will accompany them to the grave. Number one, it will be the relatives who will follow you to the grave to make sure that you are buried. Number two will be your wealth that will be used probably to also support your grave that day. And number three, and the most important, is your deed on earth. What you did here is what will help you in the grave. But one other item that can only support you in the grave, the Muslims believe, is the prayers of a pious son or daughter. So why they are taking the children to Duksi is, if they take them to school, this kid will start learning English or mathematics and a few sciences and the rest for this world. By the time you die, he will not pray for you because he has no competency for prayers. So unaona unabeba msalaba huko peke yako and you have nobody to help you. So ukihitaji usaidizi from outside, ingie kwa grave, it is the prayers of the pious son and daughter. And they must be prepared. That's why technically the children are kept out of school. Because by the time ukikufa, at least you want the prayers of your daughter and your son to come and help you. Kuokoa jahazi wakati uko ndani. So that is so what we did initially, our approach was to help the county government come up with a bill and anchor it in the county government. But now we have shifted gear because we want to support the provincial government. The basic education is already providing the provision. We want to ensure that now Duksi becomes a national agenda and no longer a county affair. Waziri, one other item is about the school feeding program. Mandera is a working county. This is where my heart is. And today you have launched the school feeding program, you have seen. What we are doing as a country is that we want to transit into a homegrown solution. Currently, the kind of provision we are doing for Mandera and the Asal region is called the in-kind, where we are moving food from Nairobi centrally purchased to come here and it goes. One of the components, items that actually is the meal for the children is rice, which is largely imported. We are shifting away from this and we are moving with the support of partners. We want to make sure that the local community in Mandera will grow their own food, such that they grow maize, and that maize will be converted into a whole grain fortified maize and will replace rice. As you mentioned rightly, a partnership between the Rockefeller Foundation, government of Qatar, and the Ministry of Education is now committing about 30 million USD to support, and Mandera has already been identified as a pilot. This will come officially when we probably will be launching once again to see to it that they grow. You know, when the community grows their own maize, and the maize now is converted into whole grain, and the money is provided through the schools to be bought by the schools or through a certain aggregation that will be agreed upon, people will consume. If you want the Somali habit to move from rice, we allow them to grow and we buy from them. But if it is a matter of lifting food, they will tell you, we want rice, mambo ya story, ugala hatutaki. Because they know it is being lifted. So we want to make sure we catalyze through the school feeding program to ensure that they grow. Otherwise, I'm happy, Waziri. I think you are one of the first minister that has ever come to Mandera in the history of Kenya. Am I right? After Peter Oringo. But under the devolution, you are the first one. Hiyo kikombe iko sasa. Mambo ya kutuambia other ministers came in, tuweke kanda kwanza. Education minister is a first. So Karibu Waziri, this is your second home. And thank you very much. I wouldn't like to take much of my time, but I would like to congratulate the Governor Mandera and his predecessor, Honorable Ali Roba, who has laid the foundation. He is the only governor who has been able to make sure that he has put up a succession plan. He has achieved whatever he did and came with a succession plan which has succeeded. Some of our former governors cannot influence the election of a cockroach after they have left offices. They cannot even bring in a ward assembly member from their village. Thank you, Banaroba. if there will be a position that will come up in the review and will require somebody for Greater Northern Kenya, including NFD, the whole NFD, then you are the candidate. Thank you very much. Karibuni, you can invite the Secretary.
As per the program, now I'd like to invite the pioneer Deputy Governor and our current Speaker of Mandera County Assembly, Mheshimiwa Omar Sada, to make his official remarks.
Bismillah, Your Excellency, the Governor, Ahmed Khalif, my brother Waziri, we served in the 12th Parliament, and Karibu Mandera. These days I'm in this part of the world, so nimesema Karibu, and I'll be very brief after welcoming you to Mandera. Of course, in your other life you have been here also, in the provincial administration you have been here, and I'm sure you know what is happening around here. Mine is just to thank you for coming, and also thank the task force headed by Malam Yango Olad. Very well done, job well done. And now in terms of implementation, of course, as the head of the assembly, we will do all we can to support the governor to make sure that we implement that report. Waziri, yangu ni moja tu. Kuna wale wa jamaa wanajiita wanasema local and non-local teachers. For me, everybody is local. But for me, one thing I want you to say no is the issue of haphazard transfers of teachers from northern Kenya. We know, of course, we served in the 12th Parliament. There has been a lot of issues in terms of TSA transferring teachers from northern Kenya. You see, when there's placement or recruitment, a man comes from the other part of Kenya, for example, Western Kenya or Nyamira, where home is, and he gets recruitment from Mandera. After 6 months, he says he wants to be transferred. And he brings an ultimatum, he moves to TSC headquarters and says unless he's moved, he's not going to go back to northern Kenya, or in particular Mandera. There's no problem in Mandera. I've been here the longest. I was the first deputy governor. I was a member of parliament for Mandera East before giving out to my brother there. And I'm now the speaker. So there's no problem in this place. Please say no to transfer of teachers. Asante sana and karibu.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa Speaker, for being brief. At this juncture, I'd like to invite the host MP, Mheshimiwa Hussein Weitan, to come and take over inviting other members of parliament. Mheshimiwa, karibu.
Thank you very much, County Secretary, His Excellency the Governor, CS Machogu, Senator, members of Parliament, our security members, members of County Assembly, members of County Executive Committee, and all other elders, ulamas present. Before I make my remarks, I will invite my colleagues to make their short remarks in 2 minutes each, strictly 2 minutes. And I will start with my colleague and the incoming member of parliament for Banissa constituency, the Honorable Barre Hassan. Barre Maalim Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum. The Honorable CS Machogu, our Governor, Governor Muhammad Adam Khalif, our Super Senator, all our MPs from left, our Senator, our Women Rep, Mheshimiwa Adan Haji, Mheshimiwa Kore, our Deputy Governor, I salute you. Mine is short. I will give Mheshimiwa a discount of 30 seconds. I will do it in 1.5 seconds, 1.5 minutes, I mean. And today's program is a program that we've been waiting for. Early education, as you can imagine, is one of the fundamental steps in our education sector. We cannot leap from early education into primary education. And having put a lot of concentration, our government, our county government, is making sure that we get a stable background into transformative education. And it is all those who have presented here have been either my classmates, most of them, Mohammed Abdunur, we studied in Wajahi School together. Ma'alim Olad was my headmaster in Elwaq Primary. Ali Ma'alim Hassan, my elder brother, is also a teacher, a headmaster in 1987 Elwaq. And they know better in education sector. They are pioneers in education. Malim Yusuf Bule, I did not forget you. My teacher in Ramu Primary in the 80s. These are people who have carved a niche for themselves in as far as education is concerned. And for them to be here telling us or informing us what education, especially the basic education and Tibet is, it is an honor to have them, and I hope their recommendations are implemented. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I then invite the Honorable Mariam, our nominated senator, to make a remark.
Buenos CS and all protocol observes. Good morning. Good afternoon. Mine is welcome, CS, to Mandera. Mandera is a peaceful place. You can look for even a household here to settle. The other one is TaskForce. The recommendation they gave is what is really the facts, which is on the ground, led by my former boss and teacher. CS education is success in all in Kenya. Integration, we need it, as other speakers have already put it, Duxi and the other one is TVET. Watoto wetu wakimaliza high school, where we need them manually. It's not a matter of looking for a job somewhere. They have to create for themselves. That is manpower. We have to empower them, our youth. Ownership of the schools, community schools. I'm very impressed the way the ACD, Boresha, and the other one. We need our communities to involve so that they own education themselves, so that to know the value of the schools. Shortage of schools, shortage of teachers. These are very important. It's critical to the success of our students. If I had local schools, local teachers, if teachers are saying delocalization, what of police, which are everywhere, working everywhere? Why teachers only? That is food for thought for Bwana CS. Bwana CS, one concern, and I want it to be implemented, about the hijab, of which it is on your desk. There is a parent who came to my office from the three counties, that is Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa. A parent, my daughter is class 8. Now when it comes to selection of schools, in national schools, they select the best schools. That is public schools. Lions, Kenya High, and many others. And that kid work hard, extra hard, and gets probably Alliance or Kenya High, any. And she is very happy to join the schools. Immediately, in reports, She's told no wearing trouser and no wearing hijab. As a parent, my daughter, I will not allow her to be in that school. Immediately, I will take her to boy girls. That is show the self-esteem of the kids has dropped, demoralized. So take it seriously, and we need it to be done immediately on that, seriously. The other one is training institute, these TVETs. We need modelized. This, our youth, if you put Wi-Fi somewhere, hakuna mtu anatoka hapo kwenda nje. So let's go with modelized what is going on the social media. Students, if you want your daughter or your son to be somewhere, provide Wi-Fi network so that they can access everywhere. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Mariam. May I take this opportunity again to call our Mama County, the Honorable Umul Khair Qasim.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All protocols observed. Bwana CS, karibu sana Mandera. As far as I'm concerned, you're the second CS who has come to Mandera. I don't know about the second that came before him, but as far as I'm concerned, you're the second after the health CS. So karibu sana Mandera. I applaud the governor for the good work. After the health task force, now this. Also applaud Governor Emeritus, our current senator, for laying the foundation. We did not see when you were building those institutions that it's going to bear any fruition, but I congratulate you. Bwana Governor, asante pia kwa kazi nzuri. The task force, you did a good job. Now we need to capitalize on the gaps that have been mentioned. My office gave bursary 1 million to both institutions 2 months ago. I'm a firm believer of TVET. I think that is where the world is going. China converted all its universities to technical. Italy did the same, and I do not see why. Bwana CS, you bear witness that there's no formal job for all of us. And we can only do jobs that we create for ourselves. And that is why I decided I will fully dedicate my bursary to TVET and more to TVET and then to teachers, because we have so many colleagues who sponsor plus the county government for the teacher training college. Now where the gap is on the teachers. I'm sorry I did not join you in the morning there. I had another function here. But we have courses that we really need. So there's a letter that is already on your desk. I don't know if you've received it, on the need to expand the courses that we are doing here in Mandera. Unfortunately, simple courses that could be done cannot be done here because of lack of teachers and lack of equipment. And I applaud you for the good job. I've just been briefed on what you've done, and asante sana. And thank you for holding our hand. And please keep on working with Mandera County. With the teachers shortage and the exodus of teachers, I think it's about time we woke up and became self-sufficient, and we're heading there. The former governor worked very well on the health sector. And now we do not even have work for our health workers from Mandera County. Actually, we've surpassed the numbers that we could actually employ. And in the education sector, it will go that way. I would beg that you support the low-cost boarding schools. I think that is the way to go. We need to have a strategy of attraction and retention. How best we can attract is to have sufficient food in our schools and, of course, enough water and enough materials for them. There's a sector that is very close to my heart, which is the community that are people who are living with disability. The former MP started a school for the deaf and the blind. Unfortunately, it's still lagging behind infrastructurally and also learning materials. The children are actually sleeping in classrooms. I beg you, it's not a matter of asking. 10% of our population are people living with disability. They do not have access to school. Even those who finish in integrated schools find alternative ways of going to Wajir, others drop out. So I would wish that that school is completed and it becomes a referral school for the whole county. A boarding school, fully fledged, that is our first priority that we have. The other one is on community ownership. TaskForce, you did a very good job on the community ownership. Is very key. Without involvement of the community, there's nothing that can actually go on. So we will support you in that. I will still support you in that, Honorable. I'm almost done. Please give me some time. Honorable Machogu, asante sana kwa sanitary pads. You know, women reps, sanitary pads are very dear to me. You've been seeing the events. You've been seeing what was happening in Bunge. We were carrying sanitary pads into the chambers. But our primary schools, of course, have enough sanitary pads for the girls now. Unfortunately, the schools that are in the remote areas may not access, but of course it's transitioning from you. But before it transitions from you in January, please ensure that even secondary schools get sanitary pads. There are girls who have, actually food is actually a priority for us. So we drop out because of that, because I do not see, even though it's good to start teaching them at an early age how to, because that is when they get their periods, but that should also be extended to secondary schools. And there's nothing wrong with saying about periods. Periods is part of us. We have girls who are our daughters, who are caregivers. So it is something very dear to us. They actually call us sanitary pads MPs. And we are proud to be associated with that. Asante sana, karibu sana Mandera.
The remaining members of parliament, please take maximum 10 minutes. I mean 2 minutes. Maximum 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Adan Haji, the member of parliament for Mandera West. Mheshimiwa Adan Haji, our senior member of parliament, the member of parliament for Mandera East. I know he always shortens, but take 2 minutes. Mandera West, I said.
You said Mandera East. Bwana CS, His Excellency Governor, His Excellency Senator Governor, Deputy Governor, colleagues, politicians, all of them, wa ulama, wananchi tukufu, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kwanza kabisa nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye ametuleta hapa pamoja siku ya leo, na tunashukuru waziri ambapo siku ya holiday, siku angepumzika na angekaa na watoto wake na wajukuu wake, amesema hapana, lazima kazi ya Mandera ifanyike. Waziri, hiyo ni shukrani kubwa sana kwako. Leo kazi ni kafupi, ni ya task force. Sisi pastoralist tukiwa mahali moja, kama tunataka kuhama, tunatuma watu wanaitwa sahan. Wanaenda wanatembea, wanachukua maoni, wanaangalia mazingira, alafu wanarudi nyumbani sema haya sasa tuhame pande hii. Na tukifanya hivyo unafaulu kila wakati. Hii task force ile kazi walifanya, waliangalia ile hali yetu ya education system sasa vile tulivyo, wakaenda round, wakachukua maoni, wakaangalia infrastructure na wakasema tuhame pande hii. Who are we to refuse? Lazima tufuate hiyo maneno yao. Lazima tujaribu kuimplement hizo recommendations zao. I know all of them, almost all of them, and these are very celebrated educationists, and therefore they know what they are saying. Ours is to make sure we implement. The other day we were here, we were task force on health, and after having implemented here and there, and that's why today I think we are saying also, we are very proud that the health sector has no problem, as we are here in Mandera County today. Our problem is now in education, and therefore if we follow that, well and good. Bwana Waziri, umejionea leo. Wengine wanasikia Mandera tu wakisikia ya kwamba wanafikiri ni jangwa mahali fulani. Look at what our county governments, successive governments have done. Look at those infrastructures that you saw today. Some of our neighboring country where some of my friend comes from, when they come here, they cry around. The other time during the task force of health, we came with Dr. Dagane and Dr. Dabar. The whole day, even as we were flying, when the plane was taking off, they were looking at those infrastructures like that. Because they thought this can never be done by a county government. Thank you so much, our county government, our former and our current. This has become like that mbio ya relay. Unakimbia alafu unapeana, inakimbia. When others wanna, let me not to go deep into county government issue. Finally, the Duxi, as it has been said here, whether we like it or not, for this community to send their children to Duxi is a compulsory thing, is an obligation. We shall do it. So, wanasema kama milima hapana weza kuja kwako, wewe enda, tembea mpaka ufike kwa milima. Sasa hii system ingine, lazima iende kwa Duxi, iwe integrated, because the Duxi will remain, whether we like it or not, in this community. So the integration should be there. And if we, as it has been recommended, we integrate the two, we shall get 100% enrollment. 100%. Because the Duxi system is already 100% enrollment. Thank you so much.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Adan Haji for those very important and great ideas. Followed by Mheshimiwa Abdul Haro, the Member of Parliament for Mandera South, and a member, the only member who is in our education committee. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Asante Mheshimiwa Waitan. I have not forgotten kwamba wale tulibaki umetupatia 10 minutes. Asante Waziri, hii siku ni siku yako. Sisi ni wenyeji wako na tunakukaribisha kwa mikono mikunjufu kama vile Waswahili wanavyosema. Na ujisikie kwamba uko nyumbani. Nakumbuka wakati tulikuwa tunaongea kidogo pale nje, nilikuambia umekuja Mandera at a time when we are experiencing educational renaissance. Ni wakati tuko na muamuko wa elimu katika sehemu hii. Manake zamani vijana wetu, wasichana wetu, vijana wetu tulikuwa tunawapeleka malishoni kuchunga ng'ombe, ngamia, mbuzi. Lakini leo kwa sababu ya mambo mengi, watoto wetu wale walikuwa wanatumwa kuchunga ng'ombe, mbuzi, ngamia wako mashuleni. Na nikakwambia kama waziri wa elimu, pengine ni bahati ya Mungu, pengine ni wewe na nia yako. Unajua mtu akiwa na nia nzuri, mambo yake yote inakuwa mzuri. Ulisikia chairman ya education committee ya assembly akisema hatujasikia mashule zikigoma wakati hii wa enzi yako. Hatujasikia walimu wakigoma. Kuna stability katika education system katika Kenya mzima. Na mimi nafikiri ni wakati ambapo chochote kile ambacho utachangia, investment yoyote ambayo utaweka katika education Mandera itakuwa na immediate impact. Iwe ni TVET, iwe ni MTTC. Sasa nitafupisha tu, sitaenda zaidi. Lakini ningetoa tu comment kidogo kuhusu Education Task Force. Chairman na timu yake, wonderful job. There is no doubt whoever selected that team did a lot of homework, and it's the best team that could have been put together. I congratulate you for the good work you have done. Lakini chairman alipomaliza kuzungumza alisema sasa tumemaliza kazi yetu na tumehand over. Niliona tu amesema tumehand over, lakini sijaona report ikiwa handed over. If that report has not been handed over, if there is any review that can be done, I wanted to say this. Tumezungumza juu ya ECD na vocational training, na tumezungumza na stakeholders wengi. Nilikuwa nauliza mwenzangu Mheshimiwa Adan Haji, did these people talk to any national leaders? Hata mimi niko katika education committee, for example, ningekuwa na jambo moja ama mbili kuchangia, lakini bahati mbaya sijapata hiyo fursa. Lakini kama bado kuna opportunity, tungependa. For example, sijui kama His Excellency Governor Emeritus na Super Senator wetu ambaye sasa anatuwakilisha vilivyo katika Senate, na Senate ndio inatetea maslahi ya county including ECD na education na vocational training. Sijui kama yeye pia aliweza kuchangia maoni yake. Kama bado, ningependa kuomba pia pengine mkimzungumzisha kidogo, kwa sababu kuna bill, Bwana Waziri, kuna bill, vocational training bill, ambayo imeoriginate kutoka kwa Senate, which we are discussing now in the Education Committee. Na inazungumzia mambo mingi ambayo umegusia hapa. Na pengine kama tungesemezana, tungepatia maarifa kidogo na nyinyi pia mngetupatia maarifa kidogo. So if there is still an opportunity to review or add or whatever, that would be a plus for us. Kumalizia, Bwana Waziri, mimi itasema jambo moja kuhusu NACONEC. Ndugu yangu, rafiki yangu Harun amenishukuru na akasema nimechangia. Kweli tumecontribute sana katika kuhakikisha kwamba ile budget yetu imetoka 2.5 million to 5.5 million billion, na tumecontribute zaidi kuhakikisha kwamba namba ya wanafunzi wetu ambao wanapokea chakula imekuwa doubled pia kutoka 2 million again to 4 million. Na NACONEC ni nguzo muhimu sana, na nafikiri nimezungumza wakati fulani even on the floor of parliament. Nikasema NACONEC is one of the few institutions in Africa or even in the world ambaye imekuwa tasked na issues to do with nomadic schooling na how to support nomadic schooling. The only other stronger nomadic institution ambaye nimeona is the Nigeria nomadic institution. Na nomadic institution in Nigeria imepewa functions zingine zaidi more than pamoja na ile function umepewa ya chakula. Like for example, maji na chakula huwa inaenda pamoja. Mimi nafikiri NACONEC ikiongezewa function ya pia kujaribu kusupply maji kwa shule, hii maneno ya wash na nini, wakati kiangazi huwa inakuja, most of the time tunashughulika kupatia maji vijiji, lakini tunasahau mashule. Na nafikiri NACONEC wakiongezewa function kama hiyo ya maji, na function kama kushirikiana na idara ya health pia vitu kama immunization kwa mashule, nafikiri itasaidia zaidi. Finally, nimemaliza Mheshimiwa Waziri, mimi ninajua unafanya bidii sana, na pale nimekaa katika education committee ninafikiri ninafahamu unanunulia sub counties zote Kenya magari ili kusaidia mobility ya directors wa sub county waweze kufanya ile mwenzangu alisema hapo kuhusu quality assurance na kusupervise na kufanya nini. Mimi ombi langu, tuko na counties, sub counties 37 in northeastern. Tuko na sub counties 37 in northeastern. Mheshimiwa Waziri, nitakuomba wakati hizo magari zitafika namna hii, kwa sababu ya changamoto transport na challenges tunazopata distance katika sub county zetu, nitakuomba uprioritize counties 37 za Northeastern ziwe za kwanza kupata hizo magari. Bwana Waziri, pia nafahamu uko karibu kudistribute computers kwa shule za secondary zote. Tena nakuomba Bwana Waziri, wakati zitakapokuja, kwa sababu unajua uko na goodwill kubwa kwa watu ya Northeastern, tunakuomba hizo computer wacha zitangulie na Northeastern, na itachangia katika legacy yako na yale mambo mengine. Alafu mwisho kabisa, tumezungumza juu ya ECD, tumezungumza juu ya Duxi integration. Ningependa tufikirie pia the task force. I don't know whether your work is done. Ningependa mfikirie juu ya mobile schools in relation to the same. Plus, I don't know adult education inakuanga function ya nani? Sijui ni ya county ama ni ya Ministry of Education. I think kuna mtoto hapa pia huwa anasaulika kila mara. Na hii adult education pia tunahitaji kuzungumzia. Mwisho kabisa, tuko na wanafunzi wengi wamekwenda university safari hii, Bwana Waziri. For the first time, nafikiri tumeproduce grades ambazo zimekuwa nyingi zaidi za kuwezesha wanafunzi kutoka hapa kwetu kwenda university. Na university nyingi ziko mbali na sisi. Mtu anaenda Egerton, Moi, kutoka hapa. Distance ni mbali. Kwa hivyo gharama yule mzazi anagharamia kutoka hapa kusupport huyu mwanafunzi akwende mpaka kule anakokwenda huwa nyingi sana. So ni kuomba tu, mimi najua unafanya overtime kuhakikisha kwamba pesa zile serikali imeahidi italipa, the 85%, 82% ya kuweza kusaidia wanafunzi kubakia katika universities. Najua unafanya bidii. Ningependa hizo pesa ziweze kuwa tayari mapema, wanafunzi wetu ambao wamekwenda university wasihangaike hata kidogo. Asante Bwana Waziri. Hale mengine mimi na wewe ni watu wa jamii moja, tutazungumza katika nyumba yetu ile. Asante.
I knew unajua Kore atachukua 10 minutes. But he gave a very good contribution. Before I continue, there is a very important lesson that if I don't welcome him and we live here, it will be extremely very bad na tutajibu maswali mingi. Wacha nikaribishe the Director General of Education, Mr. Elias, who comes from this area. At least 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa CS, Governor Khalif, members of Parliament present, Honorable Senator, all protocols observed. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I am pleased to be here with you. 2 issues only. Issue number 1, I want to introduce those of us who have accompanied our Cabinet Secretary to Mandera today. Please, officers from the Ministry of Education, stand up wherever you are. From the headquarters. We have a team from Nakonek under the leadership of our able CEO, Mr. Harun Mohammed Yusuf. And then we also have the Acting Director Teacher Education, Madam Salome Maina. She's in charge of all the TTCs in this country, over 32 of them. And then we have our communication officer from the Ministry of Education headquarters, Mr. Buhera, and his cameraman, and the rest are from Nakonek. Thank you very much. Please take your seat. We also have a team from the regional office in Garissa. The regional director and his officer, where are you? The regional director, Mr. Roble, is there from Garissa, and there's an officer from his office, Mr. Ibrahim. They have come with us. The Ministry of Education officials from Mandera town here, where are they? Sir, this is your representative on the ground, County Director of Education, Mr. Abdi Sheikh Reis Yohan, very able officer, worked very closely with the county government to ensure everything is done here. And then we have the County Director for TVET, Mr. YM Yusuf, is in charge of TVET. Then behind there we have the lady, the Sub-County Director, Abdia Hanshi of Mandera East. Thank you very much. Please let's appreciate them. Asante sana. The next issue I wanted to say, Honorable CS and the Governor and the rest of the leaders, is that I saw my brother here, Nur, who at one point was a physics teacher at Mandera Boys, talk about so much about integration. Sir, I think all of us are aware that education, the first school ever opened in this country was in 1846 in Rabai sub-county in Kilifi. I've been there several times myself by virtue of my responsibility as the DG of Education, doing oversight and monitoring education in this country. That school, if you look at this school, the way they came through missionaries. And so the Somali community specifically, and the Muslim community for that matter, you know, the first school that ever targeted the Somali community started in Isiolo. That was 1946, 100 years later. Then, how did it start? The colonial government, what they did was, these people are resisting education. What do we do? The only option is to get them Muslim teachers. And so, the colonial government had to look for a Muslim teacher all the way to Zanzibar. You have heard of Shirif Shibli? Shirif Shibli, most of you think he started in Wajir, but he started in Isiolo. What tactic has he used? He opened a school. In the school, he opened a duksi. Within the first day, the Somali community that was there in Isiolo brought 100 boys. 100 boys, no girls. When that succeeded, Shirif Shibli was removed from there, taken to Garissa, the current Garissa primary. And he used the same tactic, open a school, open a duksi inside. After he left Isiolo, another Zanzibari teacher was brought. Then when Garissa succeeded, he was removed from Garissa and went to Wajir, where he stayed for long. The current Wajir primary started in 1947. Actually, 1948. Garissa primary was 1947. So that model now, the colonial government saw that it was working. And therefore, they put on the payroll teachers, were even taken on payroll. And those of you of my age, you know, in the 80s, did you not have the Quran teachers in the schools? So integration to us is not something that just the other day. People like me who went to Ramo DEB in 1980s, and I'm seeing my teacher here, Mal Yusuf, please stand up. Mal Yusuf taught me science in Mandera, in Ramo DEB. He's still here working and very active. Thank you very much, Malia. Please let's appreciate him. In Ramo DEB in the 1980s, when I was a student there, Sheikh Madiro, do you all remember him? Sheikh Madiro was my Quran teacher under the TSC. He was in TSC payroll. So this integration is that's how we started. And even here, you know, we're still talking about integration because that's the only way of reaching these children. So it is the way we should go. But the other point I wanted to make is that overall, when we got independence, most of the responsibilities were being done from even the TSC, 1967, it was just a desk within the Ministry of Education headquarters. Today, it's a constitutional commission. Later, we used to have the East African Examination Council. When the East African split, NEC came into being in 1981. KICD, then it used to be called KIE. It was a desk within the Ministry of Education. When NACONE came into being in 2013, the crafters of the Basic Education Act, the intention was education in the nomadic counties is facing a lot of problems. These people are still way behind. What do we do? The idea was to come up with an organization that we have a group of people every morning when they wake up, they only think of the nomadic children. And you are now seeing the effort of NACONE, isn't it? That is it. Because the only way out, because if we have to put everything within the Ministry of Education headquarters, it's going to be difficult. As the DG, together with my CS, we're in charge of all the schools. All the primary schools, all the secondary schools, and all of, that kind of thing. But if Harun and his team are empowered, they get these responsibilities. And I heard the head teacher, the Mandera DEB, talk about low-cost boarding. It is already there in the report. Under the equity chapter, if you look at it, it has the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform has recommended that all the 465 low-cost boarding schools, the management be handed over to NACONEC. And so there is progress in that direction. So I just want to assure you that, you see, for the first time, the other day, I looked at these people called InfoTrack. They like carrying information on which ministry is doing well and so on. I looked at it. They placed our CS at number 2. I said these people are not serious. The CS should have been what? Number 1, honestly. Because look at it. Again, the CS is barely 1 year in office. But you know what? He has visited Garissa. He was there Wajir 3 times. Now he's here, Mandera. So we had to, for the first time, honestly, those of us who have been in the system in the education sector, education is home for us. At some point, I was the deputy principal at Sheikh Ali in 1999. You know that, isn't it? A number of you worked together then. I was in Furaha. My board chairman, Furaha, when I was starting the school, was the cabinet secretary. He was our DC that time. When Harun was the principal, Wajir High School, his board chairman was the same, our district commissioner. So for us, we just see a father figure who has just joined us at the Ministry of Education. And for the first time, we have a CS, you know, who's more passionate about education within the nomadic counties. So please let's appreciate our cabinet secretary. Now, before concluding, I just want to say something about Mandera County government and education. I think it's like our former governor, now the senator, has started a marking scheme, kind of. Teachers, we talk of my school, Sam Nyayo, and I'm seeing our brother Khalif is even perfecting it. Because now, which county in this country has given, you know, free secondary education? There are a few children I was supporting paying their fees. They don't even ask me fees these days. The county has done that. Let's appreciate that. 2, when the governor came into office, the first thing he did was to form this task force, more or less a replica of what we have done at the national level. And therefore, very prominent people, all that I've known him, a long-serving teacher in this county. You know, when I saw even the names, very successful recommendations. And we are happy. The MCA in charge of education has said those laws required to put in place here at the county, you're going to support the county government. That is encouraging. So we wish you well. The issue raised about duplication of bursaries and all that at the national level, Jomo Kenyatta Foundation is being transformed. It's now, it will be called Kenya, you know, Basic Education Bursary Council. It will coordinate all bursaries, will not micromanage, but what it will do is, if there's duplication in bursary and all that, all the data will take care of that and there will be no duplication. So with those few remarks, I just want to end it at that. And Mheshimiwa Haro, the issue of the vehicles, the CS has already heard about it. And so that, again, we have taken note of it. Asanteni sana, na Mungu awabariki. Thank you. I'm here to understand that we also have other officials in the sector from the TSC. Officials from the TSC, could you kindly stand up? We have the TSC County Director. Are you here? Yes, he's there. Who else? Thank you very much. The TSC County Director is also there. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. Mungu awabariki.
Thank you very much, Director. I'm sure you all appreciate the contributions of the DG. May I take this opportunity now to welcome our Super Senator, our former Governor, who has really started all this progress you have seen, to give us his side of the story.
Asanteni, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good. Bana CS, Honorable Your Excellency, the Honorable Members, the Right Honorable, the Speaker of Mandera County Assembly, Honorable Members of Mandera County Executive, County Assembly, and wananchi ambao wako hapa, hamujambo tena. Honorable CS, I want to take this opportunity to first welcome you to Mandera. And I want to say you are the 5th CS for education under devolution. And the 4 that preceded you, forget about coming to Mandera. They did not even know Mandera existed. And excuse my language, this is honest truth, because I was here as a governor, desperately trying to engage with them in dealing with the challenges of teachers and the problems we had. So when His Excellency the Governor told me that our CS for Education is coming, I could not have missed it for the world because of how we hold education dear in this county. The county secretary mentioned the issue of transition. Recently, I was away when His Excellency the Governor officiated, the movement of the student into the new college before this official opening, and I was greatly touched because, as he has rightfully said, many of these investments could have easily become white elephant project had we not had, a government that seamlessly transitions from one to the other. Before I move into the other issues, Mwalimu Olad, tumetoka mbali sana na Mwalimu Olad na Mwalimu Ali na wengine walikuwa staff ya county hapa. You've done a wonderful job. And I want to say you've done a wonderful job because at the advent of devolution, Bana CS, there was no ECD education in this county. So we could not have had it perfect. It was a first aid investment which was initially put up classrooms in order to make sure there is some opportunity for students to be able to get ECD learning. Now it's 10 years into devolution, it's about time we start looking at quality and standards in terms of what needs to happen. I 100% concur with the findings in all the different levels of the education system that this team have looked into. I know it's going to be a very difficult task because of resource constraints to be able to get 100%. But I'm sure, Your Excellency, you and your team will be able to move from basic infrastructure level that we have started with to a level that will be way better than where we are. There's always room for improvement in order to make sure that we're able to get quality education to our kids. Bwana CS, a lot of people have spoken about the issue of Duxi system. I want to give you a very sad story so that at least as a government, you get to understand how dear the Muslim community and particularly the Somali community hold Islamic education. What we have now in Nairobi, Nakuru, Eldoret, Mombasa, and everywhere is that the Somalis that found opportunity to go to Europe, North America, and the rest, because of this issue of LTGB, or what's the term? Yeah, this homosexuality and many other issues, and the challenge it poses, and the risk that it poses. Most men have decided to remain behind, send their families back home to make sure they get a good Islamic foundation. So for us, it's an absolute necessity. And realizing this, in my 10 years as a governor, our brother Director General remembers very well, NACONEC, they remember very well. I decided to recruit 300 madrasa teachers informally. And I was called by Madam Amina, then CS for Education. And she requested, because we are working on something, please wait a bit, don't recruit them because it might spoil. The necessity has not gone away, and it will never go away. This reality, the sooner the government gets married to it, the better. Because at that point, what did I look at? We had the worst terror incidences in this country, both in terms of frequency of occurrence and severity of occurrence. And we did not do any background check on our madrasa teachers. As long as he reads and his ulama, he can understand. It was impossible for us. We said, if we formalize, bring the informal Islamic education system into the formal education, the government will be able to have full visibility in database in terms of who are teaching these kids, who are the kids getting exposed to, what kind of narratives are they being taught. Because parents are too trusting. They will take the kids there and then they are taught. At the end of it all, you never know what is being taught. And that is the challenge that we had and it's an absolute necessity. It's very critical that you take it up as an issue that is inevitable, and we will support at parliamentary level. Lastly, because I don't want to take a lot of time, I'm very passionate about speaking about issues that touch the public. I want to congratulate His Excellency the Governor for operationalizing the Teachers Training College. Bwana CS, when we started devolution, both the health sector and education sector had the same level of susceptibility to terror shocks. And every time we were faced with mass exodus of teachers, and at the same time mass exodus of healthcare workers, because the locals were a very small percentage of that workforce. But one was devolved, the other one wasn't. The one that was devolved, we were able to take control, encourage the public, because health sector was devolved. And we were able to take responsibility, encourage, sponsor, send people, mobilize. And the end result is that today, our health sector is no longer susceptible to terror shocks. So we are not worried whether anything happens, because the workforce of professionals we have are more than 90% locals, and they're able to withstand the terror shocks. But the one that was not devolved, our problems in 2013 is the same problem today. Bwana CS. In 2013, we had mass exodus of teachers every year. Today, we have the same. Reason being, the government has never taken the initiative to be able to do something about it. When I decided to build the colleges, I was crucified. My county assembly members were saying, you're wasting money investing in national government function. But what I was looking at is a situation that will reverse, so that we are no longer going to be susceptible to terror shocks by creating our own local workforce. I want to plead with you as the CS today, because history is going to judge you, as the CS today, to support this Teachers Training College. I know with conviction that the county government will do their best. I don't need to even say, because the goodwill is there already, and they are going to do what needs to be done. But the Ministry of Education, this is an extraordinary setting. If you care about the population of this region, Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, and you care about our children having access to education, then we must deal with the issue of susceptibility to terror shocks, because the problems in Somalia, we cannot choose our neighbors. Unfortunately, we will remain closely bordered with Somalia. Unless Somalia becomes stable, the spillover of terror issues will continue affecting us. So we must devise a homegrown solution to be able to deal with this. Whatever that our MPs can do in bursary, I'm sure it will be done. Whatever the county government is to do will be done. That college has taken over 350 million shilling already. The technical training college has taken over 500 million shilling of county government money. That shows the level of dedication. I know you've shown very serious goodwill in this short visit you've had. I hold your visit extremely dear. You have already made promises and actioned them while we are seated. I can't thank you enough. I just want to tell you, there are teachers training colleges across the country, but there is one teachers training college, or two or three teachers training colleges in this region that is a transformational investment for the government of Kenya to save the population of this region from illiteracy resulting from lack of education, because we have no teachers. I think I will leave it at that. I want to take this opportunity to say, asante sana, karibu sana. We are immensely grateful for your visit. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Senator. I will now take the shortest time possible to make my speech. 2 minutes, not more than 2, because I've given my colleagues, a lot of time. Waziri, we are very happy, very glad to see you in Mandera today. Mandera County is a very unique county that brings together 3 countries. If you go to the markets in Mandera right now, you will see citizens of 3 countries shopping in the markets because of the unique situation. We have Ethiopia just next, we have Somalia here, and we have Kenya here. So where you are today, when you go back, you will give a lot of history to your colleagues and thank you very much first. I thank His Excellency the Governor and Senator Roba, who started these projects you are now seeing, and we are really seeing the benefits of these projects. So many people might not have known, but they are now seeing, the benefits of these projects. MTTC, Mandera Teachers Training College, we went round, you have seen what is really missing, and you promised to take action as quickly as possible to give us trainers, to give us projects, and we are thankful. The same applies to Mandera Teachers Mandera Technical Training Institute, which is now producing technical people in Mandera. The only problem is that they are lacking infrastructure and operationalization of the same. You have seen there are so many equipments worth millions of shillings, but unfortunately they are not in use. We want you and we request you to post experts to train our people so that they can help themselves and maybe their skills exported to foreign countries. As you said, Germany, you will have the list as quickly as possible so that our youths are motivated and more will even join the colleges. The issue of DUXI and the integration, that is one thing that this side of the country will all support. You will have the support of the MPs and all other leadership. You cannot afford to miss that. And as clearly put by our team, our task force team, all the subsequent reports have recommended the same. We request you to implement that so that we can have 100% enrollment to our schools. The other thing, Mandera Technical Training College and both Mandera Technical Teachers Training College are 10 kilometers away from Mandera town. They all need transport. They requested several times, and I'm sure all those proposals are in your office. I have forwarded the same to the BS Technical and also your office, the BS Belio Kipsang. We expect you to provide us with buses, at least each bus. Mandera Teachers Training College have one, but one is not enough. We expect you to provide another one for Mandera Teachers Training College and a bus and a pickup for Mandera Technical Training College so that they can do their work without any problem. They need hostels, they need dormitories, they need staff quarters, so many that I cannot count now, but I'll get you the proposals soonest possible. Otherwise, without taking much time, welcome to Mandera. This is your homeland. You have served in Wajir. You came to Mandera several times. In the short time you are in this office, we are grateful. We are seeing what you have done. The other one is to congratulate our brother Harun, who has really done a lot. Now, students are now coming back to schools because they have the feeding program. Without that, you could not have had the 100% enrollment and the students coming back to school. Without taking much time, may I now take this opportunity to welcome our Deputy Governor, Dr. Ali, to welcome His Excellency the Governor, then the Governor to welcome our CS. Therefore, may I now hand over to our DG. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think in the interest of time, will be very, very short. CS, I think everybody has said karibu sana. I would also follow the same Karibu Mandera. Hopefully you will come back another day where we can spend the night here with us and we will have more time to talk. But I also want to thank His Excellency, the Governor, for really taking time to make sure that this event happens. I want to thank our members of parliament, our senator who have always stood with us. It's a very, very rare opportunity where you have the entire political group, elected members, including the assembly, working together with the county government. So for me and His Excellency, the governor, we have we're having a very good time because all our MPs, all our senators, our members of assembly were able to understand the vision that we have, and they're all working with us. And to that, I appreciate all of them. But, the deputy president has said that when his boss is around, normally he is very minimal in his speeches. And he says when he's away, I also tell the citizens a few truths because he's a truthful man. So for me, mine will be very minimal. Maybe I will do my truths in some other places. But today I must say only two quick things. One is I want to talk directly to the Senator, Ali Ibrahim Roba. When he was the governor, a lot of people were criticizing. And I say this because, most of us politicians are very selfish in telling the truth about their colleagues. But today I will be very generous. And normally I am, by the way. They said he's building a lot of walls. He went to teach, put some staff in Kenya Medical Training College. Walls, TTI walls, TTC walls. Lest did they know that this guy had a vision for posterity for this county. Your Excellency Governor, because now I'm in government, and because I see the benefit myself, His Excellency the Governor and myself truly appreciate the work that you have done over the last 10 years. But also, I will not be very shy to say that you should be proud of His Excellency the Governor and the deputy and the team that's working together because they gladly took over what you did and ran away with it. Sometimes though, most of the times we give you credit when people are very impressed with the headquarters and the tarmac and the trees. Occasionally we also take credit on your behalf. So with those very few remarks, I think I want to appreciate also my county staff, the waziris, the chief officers, who have also helped us with preparations and planning of this entire event. We truly appreciate your work, each one of you, especially the Ministry of Education and the many others who supported them. So with those very few remarks, I want you guys, everybody, to help me welcome His Excellency the Governor in the way we normally traditionally do. Then he will welcome the CS Cabinet Secretary. So tafadhalini, karibisha Governor. Karibisha. Asante, Your Excellency.
Asante sana. Karibuni. Asante. Thank you very much. Asante sana wakina mama, shukran. Unajua ubaya kuongea mara ya mwisho, utaongea wakati watu wamechoka, sukari kidogo level imeenda chini, jua pia inaenda, so hiyo ndio tuko na disadvantage kila siku, lakini nitafupisha. Kwanza kabisa kabla ya sijasoma speech yangu kidogo, nataka ni shukuru Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, ametupatia sisi nafasi, ametuwezesha tukaribisha wageni wetu kutoka Nairobi, na tuko hapa kumalizia hii program. Ya pili, waziri senator amesema there were 4 previous cabinet secretaries for education under devolution. and you happen to be the first to step in Mandera. Na unajua ilikuwa tu kitu simu moja, imagine, just a call, not even a visit. Nilipigia waziri simu nikasema, waziri, tuko na program kama hii, tafadhali kuja tu ubarikisha, unaitwa nini, come and grace the occasion. Na akakubali. No, there is no respect more than that. We have not even met physically, I have not gone to his office. Ni one call. Na nasema asante sana waziri. Pia nataka nishukuru wizara yako. Brother Harun is actually a pillar for education in Northern Kenya. Na hii program, kama sio yeye, kama sio Mwenyezi Mungu na wewe, lakini kama sio yeye angekuwa. Na ametusaidia mara mingi. Tunasema asante sana brother. Na Director General pia. Director General, unaona ukiweka watu wanaelewa kazi mahali kama hiyo na kusaidia. Because the way he talks about the integration, starting from 1840 something to where we are today, these are officers who will going to add value, and we really thank them. Ile ingine ni wabunge na maseneta yangu. I can say this is the only county. You know, Mandera, they have been very unique. There are so many. You can say the only county ambayo inatoa bursary. Tunasema the only county who does this. It's also the only county ambayo viongozi wote kuanzia governor mpaka senator wetu, wabunge wetu, county assembly led by our able speaker, tunafanya kazi pamoja. Kienda mkutano ya magavana mara mingi na waeleza, unaona wengine wakilalamika, mimi naambia mimi hiyo shida sina. Sisi tuko sawa sawa, tuko kazini. Na county executive wetu ya Mandera na wazee wetu wa Mandera. Because nilituma tu message kwa wabunge wetu. Kila mtu alisema confirmed. Na wale few who have not came, they said apology with a reason. So tunasema asante sana. Now we really thank you for that. And my county assembly, I have a wonderful team. My speaker, who is also my friend. And hata mimi nilikuwa county assembly member number 1. So it was not very difficult for me to work with them. So every time nikikutana waziri wangu, county assembly first church, county assembly, because I have passed there and I understand the challenges they normally go through. Kabla sijasahau, kuna mtu muhimu tulisahau. Dr. Anil ako wapi? From the Aga Khan Foundation. Asante sana daktari, na tunashukuru pia. Those are just ni kushukuru. Just want to start with our CS Education, His Excellency the Deputy Governor, our Super Senator who is also party leader UDM, the Honorable Member of County National Assembly, the senior staff from the Ministry of Education, the County Assembly led by His Honorable Speaker, the County Executive, wakina mama ambao wametufurahisha sana. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is with great honor that we extend a warm welcome to our esteemed Cabinet Secretary for Education, Honorable Ezekiel, who has graced us with his presence in Mandera. We wholeheartedly appreciate his gracious acceptance of our invitation, despite his demanding schedule. The Honorable CS, your visit is indeed timely, particularly as we embarked on the launch of Mandera Education TaskForce report. This comprehensive report will serve as a guiding framework for addressing gaps within the earlier childhood education, technical and vocational education and training, and the bursary program within our educational sector. The Honorable Secretary, your visit holds historical significance as you are the first Cabinet Secretary for Education to set foot in Mandera County since the inception of devolution. Tunasema asante sana tena. Karibu sana Mandera. We do not take this milestone for granted, and we are optimistic that your ministry will support us in implementing the report you are unveiling today. Distinguished guests, Macklon wisely stated, I quote, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today." In line with this profound sentiment, my administration has made a strong commitment to invest in the education of our people to improve their socio-economic well-being. To address the various challenges in our education sector, I formed an education task force to examine different areas, including ECDE, TVET, and bursary program, with focus on short-term and long-term solutions. I commend the hard work of the Education Task Force team and the Ministry Mandera Education Department for the education in formulation of this important plan that will guide our investment in education. My administration is determined to fully implement the report going forward, inshallah, and we ask the national government and our development partners to support us in this effort. Ladies and gentlemen, in the pursuit of laying a solid foundation for social program, Mandera County government had embarked on significant initiatives to ensure readiness for our future generation. As we reflect on the deep insights shared by Bill Gates Jr., a well-known child psychologist and author, in his words resonates, the first 5 years hold immense influence over how the next 80 will turn out, and we hold this wisdom close to our hearts. These efforts include the construction of 268 ECDE classrooms, the establishment of 8 model ECDE centers, and the employment of 847 ECDE teachers across all the 330 ECD centers in our county. I think when in the reports they mentioned about 403 teachers. During the process of when they are going around, we added 450 more teachers. As we speak now, we have 847 ECD teachers. Actually, we doubled the number, bonus years. Furthermore, the county government has provided teaching and learning materials along with nutritious school meals, which have significantly increased our enrollment to 27,478 pupils last year. Distinguished guests, each one of us possesses inherent talent, yet not all have been fortunate enough to nurture this talent into skills. To alter this narrative, our county presently oversees the operation of 7 vocational training centers, accommodating 600 trainees, guided by a committed team of 44 instructors. The Department of Vocational and Technical Training has devised strategic initiatives to broaden our reach, intending to introduce additional VTCs, enlisting more instructors, and equip 450 graduates with startup kits in the forthcoming 2023-2024 financial year. But yes, what we have decided to do, once students or trainees graduate from the TVET, we give them startup kits. Last year we did, and this year we also we wanted to do about 450, so that once they complete, instead of looking for job, they go out and create jobs. Mandera County Government has also partnered with the national government to establish tertiary education institution. We commend the visionary initiative by my predecessor, the founding His Excellency the Senator, for founding Mandera Teachers Training College and Mandera Technical Training Institute with significant funding from the county government. You have seen everybody talking about it, and we really appreciate what he has done. Today we celebrate the official opening of these two institutions and the progress made in increasing student enrollment. It is my humble request to our Cabinet Secretary for Education to support the remaining infrastructure needs, identify the management teams during our tour of this morning. I'm sure the management have really briefed us on the gaps which we expect the national government to chip in. Furthermore, we humbly request the evaluation of Mandera Teachers Training Institute to a national polytechnic and the expansion of Mandera Teachers Training College to accommodate 700 trainees. These 700 CS are only the first year, so the next year we'll have the equivalent number, and then the third year the same. So we are talking about a trainee of about 2,100, inshallah, by the end of the 3 years, which we believe will reduce or will even solve the current teachers' crisis we have. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to emphasize the significance of education with the timeless words of Benjamin, which is stated, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. With this principle in mind, my administration has launched Elimu kwa Wote program, a deliberate strategy aimed at facilitating fee payment in secondary schools throughout Mandera County. This initiative is designed to enhance access, transition completion rates in alignment with our national education goals, Vision 2030 and SDG 4. Since it is launched in January 2023, this program has benefited a total number of 24,973 students in our 61 public secondary schools in Mandera County. Moreover, over 12,000 students in tertiary institutions and universities have reaped the rewards of World Bursary Scheme. In an unwavering commitment, the county government has allocated Kenya shillings 810 million to sustain the Elimu kwa Wote initiative, which stands as a prominent priority for my administration. I mean, we have 350 last year, and we also have about 460 this year. The total disbursed under the county government bursary program now stands at Kenya shillings 1,343,500,000. Furthermore, my administration is on the verge of introducing a scholarship program tailored to exceptionally talented and economically disadvantaged students from Mandera. This initiative will open doors for them to pursue overseas to pursue courses in medicine, engineering, and other specialized disciplines, both within our borders and through international opportunities, with a particular focus on Turkey. Our distinguished guests will remain steadfast in our education to strengthen the existing girl child affirmative scholarship program, an initiative set in motion by the previous administration, my brother Senator Roba. As we eagerly anticipate the graduation of our 13 female beneficiaries in July 2024, it is evident that the achievement upon completion will undoubtedly make a significant contribution to the overall enhancement of our society. In conclusion, I strongly encourage all the education stakeholders to consider increased investment in this sector in harmony with my vision and manifesto, aimed at providing quality education to our citizens. Additionally, I kindly request all of you, the partners, for support in implementation of this TaskForce report, which has been officially launched today by our CS. Your collaboration is crucial as we collectively work towards an enriched educational landscape and a brighter future for Mandera. Bwana CS, kumalizia maneno ya Duksi, nafikiri watu wengi waliongea juu yake, and more so has been summarized by our Director General, and I don't want to labor more on that. But as a county government, we are ready and willing to support the ministry in implementation of this Duksi and school integration. On TVET, we have seen the report. There are gaps, but resources are always limited. No, it's never enough. But as CS, this county is more than a country called Rwanda. There's 226,000 square kilometers with over 500 settlements. And the only development or the only project they see is either the national government CDF, which the MPs always struggle to distribute within their constituencies, because a constituency with over 200 settlements has become difficult where to take those small projects to, and the county government fund. We hardly get contribution or support from the 80%, 85%, because what is shared among the counties is only 15%. To be specific, this financial year was 15.something%, meaning we have not been lucky enough to benefit from the 85. But we have hope under his leadership of President William Ruto, who understands this area very well, and under your leadership, we will get enough support from the National Treasury or from the national government. Because we are not building, Governor Roba, Senator Roba was not putting up this institution, not that he has a lot of money to play around with. We have seen the report from our ECD centers. That is the core mandate of the county government. But we are looking at which can solve the immediate problem we have. So tunaomba pelekea salamu wetu kwa Rais William Ruto. Juzi tulikutana tukaongea maneno ya walimu, aliniambia governor, tafuta watoto wenu, pelekeni colleges wasome. We have done that, and we've put a lot of effort. We completed the project. In fact, we give even the contractors first priority in payment so that they get out of sight. Now we have 700 close to teacher trainees, and we have seen how they live. The chairman said they share everything except what? Uniform. The only thing that they don't share is what? Uniform. Anything else, at a kitty, they share even the seat. So, peleka salamu zetu kwa mtukufu rais, mwambie tafadhali sana, mahitaji yetu ni mingi. The demands are so much. And if you just project gaps for every department, the story will remain the same. So hii sasa tumefikisha hapa. Tafadhalini sana, peleka salamu yetu kwa mtukufu rais. The remaining infrastructure in both institutions, where sasa beba. That's why we really look for you. And Thierry, you have started doing it. We really thank you for that. And on the issue of, I think, teachers, we don't need to labor so much on it. We have done well so far. Those who wanted to move out, they have not been facilitated, which is very good. I was with the chairman of TSC last week. And because he visited this county, you know the problem with most of our decision makers up there, they don't visit Mandera or Gareza or Wajir, and they don't even understand the complicity we live in. But the chairman of the TSC visited Mandera County twice. and he has the first-hand information. When somebody tell him about insecurity, he will ask them, hata kwa Mandera hata uniko shida, hata Elwa kiko shida. You know, we haven't given the TSC team, just make sure the local teachers go to those 5 areas, lakini because we don't even call them now locals, we call them the 7th community in Mandera, wakuja hapo town. But unfortunately, there are people who come to Mandera to look for BOM teachers. They are given the opportunity. They have no problem, they don't complain. And then wakikaka kidogo, now they get an opportunity again within the private schools. They are teachers, they don't complain. The moment they get a TSC number is now when the insecurity issue now starts. Can you imagine somebody working in Mandera for 10 years as a BOM, as a teacher at private school, alafu akipatiwa kazi na TSC miezi 2 Mandera ya kaliki. I think it's not fair. And even recently, when we recruited the 400 ECD teachers, over 46 were non-locals. We give them opportunities. By then we have 900 people who have gone for an interview. So we give a quota to the community we call the 7th community. So hii maneno watu wengine wanapiga story kwa hakuna, because we have now local staff in all the department, including the Ministry of Health. Kwa hayo machache ama mingi, nataka nikukaribishe. Najua waziri alikuwa anafanya kazi gani? DC, unajua vile unakaribishwa? Makofi ya kilo.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Your Excellency the Governor of Mandera County, His Excellency Governor Mohammed Adan Karif, Your Excellency the first Governor of this county, Mheshimiwa Ari, the Senator of Mandera, the Member of Parliament for this area, and my friends, the Members of Parliament present, including the County Women Rep and my friend the Senator nominated, the Deputy Governor, the MCAs, the County Commissioner, my officers who have accompanied me here, the Director General, and the CEO of NACONEC, all the members of County Assembly, plus the CECs, and all of us, good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon once again. Yeah, thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'm happy to be here in Mandera, because the last time I was here is when I was working in the neighboring county of Wajir with my friend Hassan, who is here. And during that particular time, when I came to Mandera, the number of buildings and even the number of people during that time in Mandera, they were not as many as they are now. Mandera was not as green as it is. I thank you for planting trees, because as I moved around, Mandera is now very, very green. There was no single tarmac in Mandera during those days. And today, I was saying, am I in Mandera or I'm in some other town that I don't know? And when my friend the governor told me what has happened here, that Kura is the one which has done the 40-kilometer road, and also the county has done a little bit of it, I even called my friend, the CEO of Kura, because we are very good friends, Kinoti. We did discuss. I told him this is good work done, and kindly to do slightly more. Such that a little bit more of tarmac. Yeah, thank you, Your Excellency Governor, because we are here at your invitation for this very important day of launching the task force that you formed on matters education. As the chairman and the members who are presenting here on the 4 thematic areas, I was very attentive and I listened very, very carefully to the presentation made. and the recommendations that were able to emanate from that particular report. And one, even before me saying anything, we all know the importance of education. Education really is the key to everything, such that you cannot be able to think or consider a human being from the individual perspective, the community where that particular individual comes from, and even as a country, the most important resource we have as a country, Kenya, is the human resource. But again, that particular human resource that we have cannot be of much use unless it undergoes some kind of development. And that's why we say 2 years in pre-primary, 6 years in primary, 3 years in junior school, 3 years in senior school, and 3 years in university, according to the new CPC, the new system of education that we have now. And all that is supposed to develop that particular human being so that the human being can be able to have the necessary required knowledge, the necessary required competencies and skills in order to effectively participate in the national development of our country. Once upon a time, Your Excellency, when I used to have the time to read the Quran, I read somewhere where the Prophet Muhammad said, among the other things that you are supposed to do as a human being is also to have knowledge, to acquire knowledge. I'm sure you know it better than I do, where exactly it is found in the Quran, because I'm 100% sure that the Prophet Muhammad had very good reasons in saying that, among other things, which is a priority for a human being is to have that particular knowledge, which can only be accessed once you go through the school system as designed in our country and almost in each and every part of the world in this 21st century. So what you did, Your Excellency Governor, was a very important thing, because your report, as given by the task force, has been able to identify both opportunities and the prosperities. Because they said Mandera is a land of unlimited opportunities and endless prosperities. Sindio walisema Mandera, and you know that statement gives you the entire answer, because if we now start saying unlimited opportunities, opportunities will only be accessed by what we are saying, that unless we give education to our children, then we are not going to get to those particular opportunities, which are many, and which we will be able to highlight. We are not going to say endless possibilities if people are not going to acquire the kind of knowledge, the kind of skills and the competencies that we had talking about. So I thank you for that report, but now the work starts. Because you know, I looked at the report, a copy of the report, I like reading, but there's one chapter I missed as I was going through the report. It was like the one which was given to me, because you know the President also formed the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, a 354-page report, and when you see the final paragraph, chapter of that report, it is on the implementation matrix. The chairman was kind of saying he has completed his work, but I'm afraid to say the work has just started. Because, you know, when you come up with a report like the one you have done, is 10% of the work. 10% of the work. The really success of everything now lies on the implementation part. And that's where Kenyans, we are not very good. Because I was in Rwanda the other day, and the people of Rwanda were telling us that Kenyans, you are very good in making policies. You are very good in coming up with ideas, but your only problem is implementation. You are very poor in implementation. So I always say 90% to go to implementation. You should be able now to form a team that should be able to look at the various aspects of the recommendations of that report so that they are able to day in, day out, implement each and every aspect, and then they report to you the way I have been tasked to do with the Presidential Working Party report, because when it was handed over to me on the 1st of August by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, I undertook that yes, I'm able and I have what it takes to ensure that that report is implemented, each and every aspect of it. And I put my team together. Areas where the Secretary of the Presidential Working Party is a member of that team at the top. My friend Yusuf is, and they know what we have done. We meet every after 2 weeks under my chairmanship. I have 3 state departments. When I'm not in, like yesterday I was not, I say we don't stop. The meeting has to be held so that me now, I can be able to get a report. And among the aspects which, you know, we have been able to implement is what we were able to do today. Because one of the major recommendations in that report was that the entry requirements to our teacher training colleges was not only restrictive, it was punitive, it was as if we were not able to see really what is coming, because you can't stop people. You can't stop people from becoming teachers, because the country Kenya is not going to stop tomorrow. Mheshimiwa, my good chair, member of Education Committee. So what was done there before was insensitive, it was irresponsible, and really we cannot allow that kind of situation to be done. And that's why immediately I said, I have to enforce and implement the recommendations made by the Presidential Working Party and remove the crushed element that was there before. That does not mean that we are compromising on quality, no. A number of us here were taught by untrained teachers. A number of us here, if you ask my good friend here, he will tell you probably the teacher who taught him went to college when he had a division 4, a division 3, which was equivalent to a C-, a D+, or thereabout. So that is why I'm so happy today when I went to Mandera Teachers Training College, and the enrollment is now 667 students. That is a record. On Friday, I was in Baringo County. There was graduation for those who had graduated teacher training, and the enrollment is also 720 students from, I think, 72. So you can imagine now the number is actually going up. We have over 12,000 who have joined our 32 teacher training colleges from a number which was 1,700, meaning we were kind of crossing teacher training colleges. Apart from our needs here in Kenya, because we require teachers, one might argue that we have probably excess, but for how many years? Because like this year on, we have been able to recruit 58,000. God willing, the next financial year, we will also be able to recruit another big chunk of teachers. Apart from Kenya, we also require teachers here regionally and even globally. I was telling the governors here that the other day I was in Boston, and then from Boston I was invited by my good friends, a very big Somali community in Minnesota, Minneapolis. So I went to Minneapolis, courtesy of the invitation which was extended to me by the Somalis. And they have schools, their own schools. And you know, in the US, once you establish a school, then the government is able to finance, government is able to give teachers. Why are they having those schools? Because they want to make sure that they are able to maintain their religion. They want to make sure that they are able to maintain their tradition. And that is why my good friend Abdi and my good friend Yusuf, let us not talk without implementing. Now, sitapatia mwingine hiyo kazi. Integration hiyo, you know, I want the research. Because we don't talk that it is in the Constitution, it is provided for in the Education Act, and then what now? Who is it that is supposed to implement that and make sure that we integrate, we harmonize that for the benefit of our children? Because sincerely, you know, the major thing, even for me, I say, is to know the Almighty God, and all the other things will be added unto you. The top thing is to know God, acknowledge Him as our Creator, and then once we teach our children about Islamic values and religion, then this other knowledge they can be able to acquire. That is number one. So my friend Abdi, I want my county directors up to the sub-county level, up to the lowest level, to work very closely with the county government, work very closely with the religious leaders, so that we are able to operationalize this. Because for sure, the number that my friend Yusuf talked about scared me a little bit, 250,000. And then he said, no, if there's anything that Mandera is bottom about, it is on children who are not in school. You talked of 250,000. So I said, are those numbers right or have not? So we want this done, and you know, when I say we want it done, my two officers here, you know, like the other report, I get reports every after two weeks, and I also report to my boss every after 2 weeks. So I will also be expecting that, because it is part of the recommendations in that report, that I will be getting reports every after 2 weeks. In case you experience problems, we can come and discuss with the governor, and I hope with the good people here, I don't foresee any problem as such. So we will follow up that to make sure that things move on right. The teacher training college, I was able to take a note that you have only 6 teachers, and I said I will take it up so that at least we are able to give you additional teachers. The other thing I said I don't agree with, you know, Mheshimiwa Governor, I don't comment on issues because of the sake of commenting. There are those I say no, because even that one where some people were saying people should be transferred from this part of the country. We are one country. If we are saying that we are training for teachers to go to Rwanda, for teachers to go to Congo, teachers to go to Sudan, and even teachers, as I was in America, they want teachers. Actually, my friend Omar, who has five schools in Minneapolis, was telling me he's coming here to recruit, particularly teachers who will be able now to teach Islamic religion and even other subjects. So you know, we are not only training for here, but also for the international community. So if we are saying people can be able to go and work even in other parts of the world, China wants to recruit the teachers because we are an English-speaking country, and they also want to come and recruit English teachers. So there is no way we can say the same country that you cannot be able to work anywhere within the country. I personally worked in Wajir. My good friend was in Teacher Service Commission, and he assisted me to embroider, were they 2 or 3? 2, and there's another one who was embroidered. Even each and every time I ask her, she's again ready. Do you want to come? She says, no. Me, I don't want to come back. I want to be here. She's still there. So this nonsense that people come and say, no, we have come, we have gotten employment, and we want to move out of this area because of one reason or another, we are not going to allow, nor are we going to agree with it. So we will take action on making sure that we post more teachers now that we have good enrollment in that particular teacher training college, and also to assure you, atupatisi, Drive is not a rehearsal, but a real thing. So when you see the Kenya Kwanza government, when you see cabinet secretary here, and when you see me doing things, I consult also with my boss. So you are in safe hands. Nobody has a different government from the root of government. We are one country, one government. Machogu is serving under the courtesy of the president, and when we have said that is the entry grade, that is the entry grade. Don't ever start worrying, oh, somebody else. Sasa yeye atatoa nguvu wapi hiyo uwezo sasa atatoa wapi? Siyo ni mchezo tu, hapana fikiria kwenda hapo mbali. We are safe. That is the way it is going to be, and that is the way it is. Your Excellency, Governor, I've listened. Madam, you asked me a question about our guys joining Alliance and Kenya High, and I told you probably there might have been a case some time before, but as we move forward, let our girls, let our boys also get an opportunity in those best schools. And I think I undertook, was even when I had discussed with the principal of Kenya High, she gave me assurance. The other principals, I met all of them, and some of these issues we have discussed. We have issued a circular. You are aware, Director General. So where we find an individual going against the government directive which has been issued, bring it to my attention, and we will not keep quiet. We will be able to take action because there is freedom of worship, and it is clearly enshrined in the Constitution. So anybody going against that will be violating the Kenyan Constitution. Special needs school, I think my officer here, Abdi, because Mheshimiwa talked of a special needs school, kindly take note, so that when we are back in office, we can be able to see what we can do. Mheshimiwa, you know, sanitary pads, I have a lot in my desk. And when you requested that we transfer that particular function to the Ministry of Gender, I was more than happy to have it transferred. So from this financial year, I think that particular function is properly being handled by Ministry of Gender. I even saw somebody raising some comments in Parliament saying, what is it that the Minister for Education is doing? Now let the Minister for Education do other things, and these sanitary parts also to be done by some other people. Computers, I think my officer is here. Abdi, si ndio nikuambia utakosa hapa? Nikakwambia sasa hapa ni kwenu, so sasa wewe si mambo ngine nikuambie tena? Si hata kila mtu mambo kidogo kidogo uanzia nyumbani. Hawa ni mnani. Hiyo ni kweli. Imesikia, and you have brought it at the right time. Nafikiri this is off camera. Mheshimiwa ndio wengine wasiende kuniletea taabu, najua vile na kuanga ya magari. Sasa wewe kwa sababu ni mdosi wangu, si utakuja tu kwa sababu we are procuring, you know the number, he knows. ili najua tukiweka hapa you know the way the country was. Wengine watasema au wewe namna hii. So we will discuss, but I assure you that we are procuring over 200 vehicles, and we from the State Department of Basic. Including your college, teacher training college, we will discuss. Actually, the person doing it again is here. Where's Mama one? Sasa sini hii mtu hii sasa hao namna gani? Na unajua, I know the problems in this area. It's not, you know, you also know Kenya, the entire country. Kwingine Kasabu County ni kadogo, hata mtu ataweza enda mguu, hata na baiskeli. Hata iko bodaboda, iko moto cycles around. Ingine there are matatus, vehicles moving from one area to another. But here iko hapa. Hapa, so when we say that there should be some kind of affirmative action, it is actually based on very, very good grounds. So you have heard what I'm saying. Kwa ufupi sasa, si unanisikia na wewe? Hiyo nimesema Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, all these counties, Marsabit, unaona taabu ile iko. I've been to Marsabit, I've been to all these areas, nimeona. So mheshimiwa, hiyo na wewe polepole tutafanya pamoja. Computers nafikiri tutafanya pamoja. We are appealing to the TVET institution. Thank you very much, because the enrollment now is almost 1,000. Very good numbers. And as I am telling you, the opportunities in this country and beyond are so many. So kindly don't let your children stay at home. Get them to TVET institutions, because once they get those competencies, then they will only not be able to work here, but even in other countries. As we are talking now, I told the governor we are having a team recruiting people from Germany. Companies in Germany have come to recruit welders, plumbers, electricians, and all these experts who have completed their courses from TVET institutions. So even if one gets whatever grade, make sure that he comes to a TVET college where he or she will be able to acquire the knowledge, and once it is done, then he or she can either be a job creator locally here, or can get employment locally here, or opportunities in Germany, which the president was able to negotiate with the chancellor of Germany, are so many. Kwa hivyo tafadhali tuhakikishe watoto wameenda kwa TVET institutions. Finally, arrangements are on top here for our national examinations, including here in Mandera. This time around, we have taken all the necessary required measures to ensure that early exposure does not take place anywhere. Otherwise, I thank you so much, Your Excellency Governor, and again, Governor requested me to upgrade Mandera Technical Institute to a national polytechnic. I have seen it. It meets the threshold. So all that you have to do, a recommendation. After that, as the procedure is, I will be able to present it to Cabinet. Once it gets the Cabinet approval, then it becomes a national polytechnic. So, ukiona nimesema, the other one is the process. And the process, the one to do it is here. And the people to assist me in doing that is, they are here. Kwa hiyo sasa hiyo si mheshimiwa, is on a question of time. Kwa hivyo hiyo tutafanya, na vile wale walimu wane ulisikia nilipiga simu, the 4 trainers, we are sending them here as soon as next week. the trainers, because I saw the machines which are capable to fabricate nuts and so many other spare parts. Rather than us using the so much needed foreign exchange, we can actually make them here. For our own needs in Mandera, even other parts of the country, we can even export. So we will support you as much as possible. So thank you very much. The good people of Mandera, in the morning as I was coming, I told His Excellency the President, I'm coming here, anawapenda, na sijui aliniwapatia salamu yake. Aliniwaambia niwasalamie jameni, mmekubali salamu. Na tena Teacher Training College, mimi nilipendekezwa kwa sababu huyu Nduma alifanya kazi, niliwapatia 30 million ya Teacher Training College ya kuja kutengeneza hostels, so the 30 million will be coming, and then as we move forward we will also be seeing how to assist you.
Please,
thank you very much.
Ngoja kidogo. Want to launch it officially, please. The crowd to be few here, please. Naomba kidogo tafadhali panda hii. Tusiwe na watu wengi. Tafadhali kidogo. Tufike kidogo panda hii nafasi tafadhali. Naomba. Meisa. Then watu wasistuke, tunakuwa na fireworks. Msistuke tafadhali, Tuko na fireworks. Kidogo. Chairman. Zia.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and single pleasure to officially hand over the report to the governor so that he can also hand over to the CS for the launch. Thank you very much.
Then you can hand over the rest. They can hold. So. Yes. Pena ingine, they can hold the other 2 copies, each individually. The senator to hold one, and then the governor to hold one. Please, do it. Yes. Please press. Here, an open piece. Mace, are you there? Yes, please, naomba hapa nafasi kidogo. Tunaomba nafasi kidogo hapa, twende chini wale wengine. Twende chini wale wengine. There is a tape here. Kidogo tafadhali. Na kuna fireworks, tafadhali msistuke. Kuna fireworks, msistuke. Maisa zungusha. Zungusha kitabu isonge kabisa. Twende side. Ndio uzinduzi wa rasmi tunafanya. That's okay. Thank you. Naomba kidogo twende chini. Kuna zawadi kidogo tunataka kumpa the CS na viongozi wengine. Tafadhali twende chini. Tunaomba twende chini. Twende chini tafadhali, tukae. Please tukae.
Tena tutarete 100 computers kwa TVET. Kuna kitu mnasikia inaitwa digital skills, ndio watoto wetu wakisoma hiyo wataweza ku access international jobs. Kwa hivyo nikiwa hapa niliongea na watu wangu, watapanga kutoka next week tuanze na 100 computers, arabu institution nyingine tena tutaleta zingine, tutatembea pamoja.
Asante sana waziri. Tuko na 100 kwa Technical Training College na pia tuko na 100 kwa Mandera TVET College. So tuko na 200. Thank you very much. Na ile ya sub county pia iko tayari. Waziri, tutakubalisha kidogo ile jina ya Muhammad, we need to actualize it. So karibu sana.
Wengi hapa.
Okay. Kwanza tuanze na hii. Asante. Asante. Alafu hii ni fimbo ya mzee ya Muhammad. Alafu hiyo hapo ni kikoi. Time ndio kidogo mbaya, lakini tungekuvalisha, lakini utavaa nyumbani. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next gift inaenda kwa governor yetu for investing in education. Your Excellency, Excellency Muhammad Khalif. Thank you. Next, our Deputy Governor for supporting the governor in. Okay. Then zawadi Pioneer Governor Roba Senator, iko zawadi yako kubwa for your investment in education. Okay, CEO Nakonek. DG, kuja pia DG. Alafu task force members headed by the chair, harakisha kidogo. Yes, okay. Okay, see task force members, please, members. Leteni haraka.
Task force members tafadhali harakisheni kidogo. Task force members. I'm also here the secretariat.
Okay, pena, leta.
Harakisha please, tafadhali tuharakishe.
Mail.
Harakisha kidogo.
Mustawala Farah. Zawadi yako, next. Madam, kuja badi, madams. Mail moyo badi. Inia. Mail, Ira. Okay. Cheto. Aptio.
The teams that are heading to Nairobi, please. The teams are heading to Nairobi, 20 hours trip direct from here.